Good afternoon. Welcome back to the afternoon session of the Lusaka Business EXPO.
You doing the next one?
I am. And then I'm going to do the breakaway session. Yes, so Inutu Yapa, right up to Margaret. I'll introduce Margaret. Give you a chance to rest, eh? Yeah. And then I can even do workers' compensation and then hand over to you. Yeah. Yeah, cool. So you come on at 16. Yeah, cool. So you can, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And then also have lunch, chill. Oh, no, please. Not yet. I know, right? Tomorrow.
Is that my feeling? Is that my problem?
Is this your pen?
No, my problem.
This one, yes.
Okay.
Mm.
That's the problem. I need it later.
No problem. I won't move it. I promise. I won't write on it. I'll write in this.
Because it's your bit.
Okay.
You may need to, but I'm just saying.
I'm trying to write on this. This is where I have my names. I have a terrible handwriting. It just look like a mess. Okay.
You can start. We're just going to wait for Mr. Makasaba to start.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome back to the afternoon session of the virtual program for the Lusaka Business Expo. We will go straight into our next panel discussion. My name is Mutumu Nzalamwape. I am the Push Women's Network Board Secretary and your moderator for the next session. We'll go straight into our discussions and I would like to introduce our panelists for this panel. To begin with, we have Mr. Arthur Luyua from the Citizens Economic Empowerment Commission. Mr. Luyua, are you there? Mr. Arthur Luyua, are you there from CEEC? Okay, we also have from the National Designated Authority, Mr. Francis Mpampi. Mr. Mpampi, are you there?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mpampi. You are welcome to this panel discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, and then from Indo-Zambia Bank, we have Mr. James Komakoma. Mr. James Komakoma, are you with us today?
Good afternoon. Yes, I'm with you.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this panel discussion.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are yet to be joined by the Managing Director of the Zambia Development Agency, Mr. Mukula Makasa. As soon as he comes in, we will introduce him and welcome him to this discussion. So to begin with, I would like our panelists to give us a little bit of information with regards to the organizations where they're coming from and to tell us a little bit about their own specialization. We will start with Mr. Francis Mpampi.
Thank you so much. Coming from an organization known as the National Designated Authority, this is an entity that is housed in the Ministry of National Development Planning. We are serving as a liaison entity between the government of Zambia and the Green Climate Fund. The Green Climate Fund is a body under the UN that has mobilized resources to help developing countries address the adverse effects of climate change. At the same time, we are serving as the focal point institution under the Adaptation Fund. Also, this is another entity that has got resources to help with the fight against climate change. Basically, that's who we are.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that breakdown. At least now we have an idea of what the National Designated Authority gets to do. Mr. Komakoma, could you kindly just tell us a little bit about Indo-Zambia Bank and as you introduce yourself and what you do there?
Thank you very much. Indo-Zambia Bank is a strong partnership between the government of Zambia through the IDC and 3 public sector banks in India. It's been in existence from 1984, and we are growing bigger, stronger by the day and every year. I'm presently a manager at our credit department at head office.
Fantastic, fantastic. So today's topic for discussion is the impact of small-scale businesses on the Zambian economy. So essentially what we would like to find out is from your perspective, especially as the National Designated Authority, what is it that you would say is the impact of small-scale businesses on the Zambian economy? Mr. Mpampi?
Yes, please. Thank you so much. We feel the small-scale businesses have got the potential to lubricate the development of our economy because they are the ones that are going to provide the input that we require for the bigger industries. So we feel if we do not harness the potential that lies within the small-scale industries, then we are not doing a service to the larger scale industries.
Okay.
Why do we say so? We say so because if we do not harness the potential that lies, for instance, in the agriculture sector, when you look at the agriculture sector, a larger part of our economy is basically subsistence farming. So when you look at the numbers that are in there and what they are able to do, if facilitated, we can see a paradigm shift in terms of production. The same goes across the other sectors. Currently, we are working with the small scale enterprise that are dealing in the solar subsector of the energy, and we look at the potential that they have and currently what they are contributing. We feel these, when properly harnessed, can reverse some of the challenges that we are experiencing. I think in the interim, I would stop at that.
Okay, for an institution that basically looks at innovations, what would you say is the response to the Zambian small-scale enterprises to innovative ways of dealing with challenges in business and even just of doing business? You mentioned the subsistence farmers, for instance, and as you apply your innovations with regards to how you can preserve the environment, how are our own small-scale farmers responsive to these innovative and new ways of doing things?
The small-scale farmers, for instance, are very responsive, and one thing that we usually ignore is the fact that there is a lot of indigenous knowledge systems out there that we are able to tap into, and these feed into what we can term as some of the innovations, because they are looking at the way things are happening, what they've done in the past, and they are trying to come up with ways to counter some of the effects that they're experiencing if they remain doing business as usual. So that aspect of innovation cannot be taken away from the small-scale farmers, for instance.
Fantastic. In your experience, Mr. Komakoma, what would you say is the impact of the small-scale businesses on the Zambian economy, especially from a banking perspective?
Thank you very much. First of all, we acknowledge that most of the businesses in the country are small scale throughout the country, throughout different sectors of the country. And so their impact is very huge. And from the banking side, we also acknowledge that in as much as they face certain challenges in expansions and everything, looking at the potentials they have and the ability to diversify the economy, we also come in to try and lift them up and encourage them in their own development as businesses. So we acknowledge their input in the areas of entrepreneurship, in the areas of employment. Most of them are entrepreneurs, and most of them are youths. So we acknowledge that they are very important in such a way that if we support the young upcoming entrepreneurs, these will in turn also become bigger, and they'll also become the corporate entities of tomorrow. So we value the input, we value the employment that is creating, we value the entrepreneurship, we value the inclusiveness that these small businesses bring to the economy. By that I mean, we see more and more women, for example, getting into these small businesses in what they call like the self-help groups. And self-help groups. We call them village banking in a way, but yes, they get motivated to do more businesses. And those are the people that we, from the financial side as a bank, we also reach out to try and support their business, because we know if they grow, then even the poverty levels at household level also begins to reduce, because their business is also improving and more people are getting businesses and jobs. and the poverty levels are also reducing. So the impact of the small businesses is very huge and cannot be ignored. As a bank, we've taken initiative also, or we've taken our step to reach out to all the country, even rural areas, because we understand even there, we have a lot of small businesses. Mr. Mpampi mentioned about agriculture. We acknowledge the potential even in that area, in the rural areas as well as in the urban areas throughout the country. So the impact is very big, and we continue to support such initiatives.
Wonderful. I've been informed that we've just been joined by the Managing Director of the Zambia Development Agency, Mr. Mukula Makasa. Are you with us, MD?
Yes.
Good afternoon and welcome to the panel discussion. We're very happy to have you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, and apologies for joining in. We were struggling, I suspect, because of the connectivity.
No, that is well understood. So today's panel discussion is essentially the impact of small-scale businesses on the Zambian economy. Now, we have had the other panel members essentially discussing what SMEs are and what they're able to do and what their impact is. What we would like to know from the Zambia Development Agency's perspective is what is the defining criteria of a small-scale business and enterprise?
First and foremost, there are three parameters or benchmarks that government has developed and employed to define micro, small, and medium enterprises. It's based on.
MD,
can you
please
hear
connect
us?
the camera so we can see you.
I think it is connected. Can you see me?
No, we cannot.
Okay. Caleb, can you help? They can't see us on camera. Can you see us now?
No, we cannot. As you work on it, perhaps you can continue what your contribution was, so we can just, keep the time running.
Just a minute. Can you
Okay,
see
we
us
have you now. Yes, now we can see you.
Am I bright enough, or I mean,
you look perfect.
Is it
Thank
bright
you so
enough?
much.
It's perfect.
You look perfect, Andy. Thank you very much. So you were saying, according to ZDA, your definition of the criteria for a small-scale enterprise
According to the government of Zambia. Yeah, according to the government of Zambia, the government of Zambia had developed an MSME policy in 2008, which laid out the framework for classifying benchmarks, basically the turnover, and then there is number of employees. So, for example, for a micro enterprise, it would employ anywhere up to 10 employees. It can employ anywhere from 11 to 50. And then a medium enterprise can employ from 51 to 100. And anything above 101 and above is a large enterprise. That's from an employment perspective. And then there's also turnover. For example, if you have a turnover of up to 50,000 kwacha, you're a micro enterprise. And from 51,000 up to 100,000, you're a small enterprise. And from 101,000 up to, for example, 500 or 600,000, you're a medium enterprise. And then above that, you're a large enterprise. And then I think I talked about three. So there's the employment, there's the turnover, and then there's the capitalization itself. So those are the three benchmarks that government employs in Zambia to define micro, small, and medium enterprises.
I see.
In a nutshell.
So for a turnover of 50,000 kwacha, then you are an SME. And what we are basically saying is that the majority of businesses in Zambia have this turnover of 50,000 kwacha. Can you confirm that?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, 88% of business enterprises in Zambia, according to the Central Statistics Office, almost about 80% of our GDP is driven by the same. So when you get the aggregate of all these small businesses, they're the ones who are actually driving the economy. They employ close to 90% of, they create close to 90% of the jobs in Zambia. So they are a very critical component of our economy, or rather sector of our economy.
More so on why we should create synergies for them to be able to transform into medium scale and even larger businesses and corporations, exactly. I suppose. Yes, I don't know if we have been joined by Mr. Arthur Luyua. Are you here, Mr. Luyua?
Yes, I am.
Ah, fantastic. We haven't yet heard from the Citizen and Economic Empowerment Commission. I would very much like to hear from the perspective of the Commission what you think the impact of small-scale businesses has been on the Zambian economy so far.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, let me apologize for the internet connectivity. I had problems. I was able to hear you, but I think I had some problems. From the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, maybe let me first give a background of who we are. Just briefly, the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission is a statutory body under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry. We were established under an Act of Parliament number 9 of 2006. That was to, our main mandate is to support the development of broad-based economic empowerment programs. So when we talk of broad-based empowerment programs, we do this by empowering citizens through the ownership. We make sure that they own productive assets by also enforcing skills development. We also facilitate access to finance and preferential procurement certificates. So in terms of now coming back to the question, I think that is under discussion, the impact of small businesses on the economy. I think from our point of view, most of the businesses that we fund are small businesses. And what I can say is that small businesses are the backbone of industrial development. A country can never develop without these smaller businesses, because these are the businesses mainly that feed into the industries, that feed into the bigger businesses. You may be interested to know the progress that we have made to date. From inception, we have managed, I think, to fund about over 4,100 clients. And we have disbursed to these over about 536 million kwacha in different value chains across the country. And prominent under these value chains, the Commission is supporting the cashew matching grant, the aquaculture seed fund, and the cassava commercialization. And when we are talking of these businesses that we are supporting, for instance, I may just pick the cassava commercialization that we are supporting. We are supporting farmers who are doing, who we have funded to do cassava. This cassava will feed into into the industries that we have set up. For instance, we have Premier Corn in the Copper Belt. Premier Corn are into production of starch. This is a big plant with a capacity of about 250 tons per day. So for this is a big, the big processing plant that the smaller businesses that we are funding are supposed to produce cassava for them. So you find that, like I have already alluded to that, you see, without smaller businesses, even the bigger businesses cannot operate. I think for now, maybe I can end there.
Okay. While we still have you on the floor, Mr. Liua, could you just tell us from the demographic that you deal with regards to small scale businesses, how what percentage is made up of women and the youth?
Okay, thank you. Fantastic. On our program, for instance, if we talk of the skills development project, it's mainly women and the youth. This is we call it the skills development program, supporting women and the youth. So most of our programs under the skills development, we are supporting women and the youth. But in terms of overall objective of our projects that we are funding under the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, we have a percentage of women, which is supposed to be 40% of the funds that we disburse are supposed to go to women. And then 30% are supposed to go to the youth. The only challenge that we usually face in terms of the share of women and the youth, you find that usually when we do an advert or a call inviting applicants to apply, women usually shy, they don't participate fully, like the way male, the male would apply, would participate. And we've been encouraging women also to apply so that they can get their bigger share of the empowerment fund. But women are supposed to have a 40% share on all the empowerment funds that we disperse.
Fantastic. It's good to hear that you have a specific service that is catering for the female demographic. And as a network, it is very encouraging for us to see that there are these facilities that are available for women. Speaking of services and facilities that are available for female entrepreneurs, I would like you gentlemen to be given this opportunity to tell us the different services that fall under your various institutions. I think we can start with Mr. Mpampi from the National Designated Authority. What services do you have for SMEs, especially the female-oriented SMEs or run SMEs?
Thank you so much. From the introduction, I'd indicated that we are playing the role of a liaison office, and the institutions that we are tapping into out there have got a deliberate policy of encouraging female and also youth participation. And accordingly for us, we promote women and the youth participation in all the projects. You may be interested to note that one of the criteria for any project to go through and be able to access the resources, it has to demonstrate that there will be women participation and also the youth are taken on board. Without that, a project cannot go through. So that is the way we are doing. And we are also encouraging women to come on their own without necessarily being taken on board on other projects, so that we have women participation from the women folk, so that they can also be harnessed and they participate and contribute to the realization of the development agenda for the country.
Fantastic. So just maybe quickly, just you could run us through, when you say that women can come, where exactly is it that they're supposed to come? Maybe you could just give us some details very quickly.
Okay, thank you. The National Designated Authority is housed within the CSO complex. This is opposite Ridgeway campus. Along Nationalist, we are located at the corner of Nationalist and John Mbita Road. This is in Ridgeway area. That is opposite Ridgeway campus. That is where we are
Okay.
housed. And we can be accessed even through the website. Once you go in and key in National Designated Authority, Zambia, you'll be able to find us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mpampi. Mr. Komakoma from Indo-Zambia Bank, perhaps you can tell us what type of services you have for the SMEs and very quickly run us through how it is that they can get hold of you and these services.
Thank you very much. For the SMEs,
Yes.
primarily we have accounts open specifically for SMEs with attractive book balances and charges, which are different from corporate accounts. And also they come with very good facilities, such as Visa cards for their mobility and digital platforms to ease their transactions so they can do their businesses from any place where they are. From the credit side, I'll start with the women. We do have self-help group facility where we finance activities from the groups of between 10 to 20 women who are doing similar businesses or who have one particular project which they are doing. It also comes with its own terms, special terms, friendly to the women folk or to small businesses. Then we do finance small businesses through working capital facilities such as overdrafts. These are to help the day-to-day operations of the business. Understanding the nature of the business, sometimes you do have situations where payments come in a bit later than the date when you execute the works. So we do have facilities to bridge the gap between your expected income and the obligations you have to meet today. So we have working capital support through overdrafts. We also finance acquisition of assets for the small businesses, understanding that sometimes the challenge that some small businesses may have is having enough capacity to expand. So we do finance acquisition of assets. And I may add also that in doing that, we try to understand the actual business, the business cycle, the cash flow cycle of that business, so that we line up the repayment of that facility with the actual cash flow. So we do go deeper to understand what they actually do so that we can tailor our product towards that. We also finance short-term facilities where a business has a specific order to execute, and out of which we're going to pay off the same facility. Invoice discounting as well, we offer that. And non-fund or documentary credit, such as bank guarantees and letters of credit. We also offer that to small scale businesses. I may add also that the bank has also taken a step to help out small businesses that have been adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, because this has really hit not only our economy, and as earlier mentioned, the small businesses are the majority of the businesses. So if they are affected, it means the country is affected. And so we do have special products and facilities to try and see how we can help these businesses to remain viable through these times of the pandemic. So we do some rescheduling, refinancing of existing facilities, as well as extending facilities with special terms to those who may need additional finance in this session. So our eyes are fully on the small scale businesses.
Fantastic. That is an extensive list of services that you've outlined for us there, and one that is indeed truly responsive to what the female needs would be for an SME. I would like to thank you very much, gentlemen, for participating in today's panel session. It has been very informative, and I wish you a very successful and prosperous weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
As our panelists exit the discussion panel, I would like us to prepare to welcome our brand ambassadors for the next discussion. In particular, we will be speaking to Madam Inutu Zalomis, who is a managing director for Palm Golding Properties. But before we do that, we will break off for a few minutes so we can catch our breath. Stay with us. Okay. So there's an ad, right? Okay.
Hello. We are here at East Park. Yes, we are here at East Park at the Lusaka Business EXPO. After so much preparation, crazy business meeting after business meeting, night after night, we're finally here, and the Lusaka Business EXPO, it's on, and it looks amazing. It looks absolutely beautiful. The stands are up. Different companies have come to showcase their work and what they do. We've already started going around, and already the Zambian businesses are impressing us. We have so many women-owned Zambian businesses, SMEs. You know, the youth are coming up and owning their own businesses. And this is something that we need to applaud every Zambian as we are growing and becoming a beautiful economy. Do come through to East Park more. Come to the Lusaka Business EXPO. You might just find something that you've always wanted, something that you've always needed at a cheaper price, you know, something that you thought is not manufactured right here in Zambia, or made in Zambia, or available in Zambia, and you find it right here. So do come to East Park more. That is where the Lusaka Business EXPO, the mother of all expos, is happening. We are celebrating SMEs, especially those that are owned by women, those that are owned by the youth. That is what we are celebrating today. We've been talking to different people already, and we will be coming through. I'm your host, of course, Constance Mwezi Namwinga, and I am going to be helping you explore this amazing site as we dive into the world of business. So do come through. And of course, later on, we'll be going round the stands. I've seen already a lot of different business. I've seen plastic towels that are actually made from recycled plastic. I'm looking at a business right now called Nyatindwa. We'll go through and talk to those as well. Sampe will be coming on later as well, so that we just have a conversation and understand those businesses as well. So do stay tuned. I will be back in just a bit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this virtual live session of the Lusaka Business Expo. We will now break into a session with our brand ambassadors, starting with the Managing Director of Palm Golding Properties, the renowned Inutu Zelomis. Madam Zelomis, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We are so happy to have you with us today. You are welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Awesome. So your topic is the importance of supporting women-led businesses. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'd like to say it is indeed an honor and a privilege to have been appointed as a Goodwill Ambassador for the very first Lusaka Business Expo. I believe that this expo will definitely provide a platform for businesses, not only female-led businesses, but businesses across all sectors, to be able to network and participate. And my sincere hope is that people will leverage off this opportunity. When we look at a women-led business, I think it's important for us to understand the context in which we talk about women-led businesses. 1 out of 4 women in sub-Saharan Africa either owns a business or manages a business. That is a significant number of women who are within the business sector. If you see the performance of businesses that are led by women, you see also the amount of women that are going onto boards, corporate boards, where people are looking at a 50-50 balance between men and women. We can see that women have a lot to bring to the table. I can attest the growth of my own business, which has over 60% women employed, has been one of the key success factors. Because for a woman, when we look at supporting a woman-led business, we look at a very dedicated force. If we look at the statistics across Africa, 90%, women invest 90% of their proceeds, of their profits, into health, education, and nutrition of their families. We also know that the payback rate of women who borrow from financial institutions is well above 90%. And that, I think, speaks volumes in terms of why women should be supported in running their businesses, investing in a women-owned business, supporting a woman at different levels. And I think investment should not only look at financial investment, which I believe a lot of speakers have already spoken to ahead of before me. I think we also have capacity building, how women's capacity can be built within the business sector. There are several programs that are available, but I believe that more and more women who are becoming more and more confident about will become more and more confident about being able to access the capacity that they require to be able to build businesses, to future-proof their businesses, and to build businesses that will go beyond them.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Madam Zelomis. You have very well enunciated the things that need to happen for us to support women-led businesses. Our next speaker is a financial consultant. She is a mentor and also a well-experienced young lady in the financial sector. She's another push and also Lusaka Business Expo brand ambassador, and her name is Madam Liapa Mbewe. Liapa, are you there? Liapa, are you with us? Okay, she seems not to be with us at the moment. We will break off into an advert for a little bit, and then we will be back in a few minutes. Liapa? Oh, okay. So I suppose he's on standby now. Let me find out. Because they've all disappeared from this window. They've all disappeared. So, Mr. Muo, Liapa, I'm told you are now with us. Please start your video and join the discussion. We seem to be having a few technical challenges. Okay, we seem to have resolved them. Our next discussant is Madam Liapa Mbewe. She is a Lusaka Business EXPO brand ambassador and a financial guru, a mentor, and a very experienced young lady in the financial sector. Madam Liapa Mbewe, are you there?
I'm here. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome. We've been waiting eagerly to hear from you.
No, thank you so much for having me here. And I'm excited that the expo has started, and it's very exciting.
Indeed. So for your topic of discussion is the importance of supporting women-led businesses. You can take it away.
Okay, perfect. So as introduced, my name is Liapa Mbewe. I'm a financial literacy educator and also a financial advisor, an investment financial advisor. So my core is on the passion side, the financial literacy education, and also on the work and its financial advisory, and just ensuring that everyone gets to their core financial freedom and getting to a point of financial inclusion all around. And people are realizing that there's so much more than income and expense, but then there's this part of financial freedom, which is everyone's entitlement. And that's me in particular. So today, around the core discussion in terms of women and the expo and the business expo, and also when it comes to financial inclusion, I'll say this in layman's language, and I'll try to make this as realistic as possible. The business expo and where we are today, and even just ensuring that every single woman, I think you've heard this time and again throughout the discussions, that women are the core drivers of every economy because of how versatile we are when it comes to starting our businesses, and how we like to get our hands dirty and just ensuring that the work is done and the money is made in whichever way it is that we can. And this is where we are today, and this is where the expo comes in. And also being a brand ambassador for the expo and being a woman for that particular sense, it brings so much meaning, not only to myself, but to my fellow woman that is out there, and just ensuring that we pull each other up and ensure that every one of us is winning in terms of financial inclusion. This is something that doesn't come easy. It's a mentality shift. It's something to realize that you as an individual are worthy of financial freedom, and also this financial freedom extends beyond personal finance, but also contributing to the economy and contributing to the markets on a larger scale. And this is where women come in. I like to believe that we've seen a lot of innovations over the course of time that have been brought about by women. We can see village banking that has given even just the banks and all these mobile money services a run for its money. Why? Because we've gotten to a point where we understand that we as women have a very vital role to play. And because we're very innovative and we are multipliers, we need to take that also into the markets and the business sense and see how we can model already existing models and also remodel new businesses and new opportunities, and also penetrating different types of markets. And this is where opportunities like the expo come in, and you find that even a lot of business communities like the Push Women are coming in to ensure that every single woman gets this opportunity to ensure that we are heard. So it's long gone, and I think you would agree with me. It's long gone where we'll throw pity parties for ourselves, saying, we women need to get into the fields and we want a portion of the pie. But then we have been given that opportunity as women. So it's a matter of going into the markets and making the most out of it, especially at such a time like this. You see that there are a lot of statistics that are running. It's the 2019 statistics that that actually say that in the US, I'll use the US statistics, saying women are earning more than men, which is unheard of. So what a time to be alive as a woman, what a time to be alive, to contribute. It might be in the corporate sector, it might be in the informal sector, but then all round, we need to have the entrepreneurial kind of thinking, whether you are in the corporate sector or you are in the non-corporate sector. So wherever it is that you stand, for me, this is why I chose to be part of the Lusaka Business EXPO, because it's creating a leveled playing field, whether male, whether female, whether young, whether old, whether developed entity or a startup. You cannot complain that you were never given an opportunity. This is the opportunity for you to go out and literally awaken the future. This is where it starts, and this is where it goes from here. So as a woman, I am calling up every single woman that that is out there, every single youth, every single young person, and every single man. It doesn't matter who you are. This is where you come in and ensure that you contribute highly to the markets, and also to awaken the future as the Lusaka Expo entails and the theme entails. So I'm very excited. So even as we start day one, I'm very excited to what day two has in store for us, and what it is that we're going to learn from this. I love the power of testimonies, and numbers and testimonies don't lie. So if anyone is going to get something out of this, I'm excited to hear of it. So let's awaken the future. The Lusaka Business Expo is here to ensure that every one of us gets that level playing field, especially for women out there, young and old. We are here to ensure that this is a place for you to thrive and to awaken that particular potential that everyone knows you have. So that's that. Those are my 2 cents.
She's a financial consultant talking about the importance of supporting women-led businesses. All right, so moving on, we have a next speaker who is Mr. Simon Muowo. He is the CEO of Fibercom, and he is making a presentation on how digital transactions are shaping the future of businesses. Good afternoon, Mr. Muowo.
Good afternoon, Mango.
Yes, our sincere apologies about the earlier miscommunication in the earlier presentation, but we are so looking forward to hearing your presentation on how digital transactions are shaping the future of business. You may go ahead, sir.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate. Let me once again ask you to share the slide that I've prepared.
Okay.
Thank you once again. I'm delighted as Fibercom to be part of this Push Women Network, and in particular the Expo, Lusaka Expo. What I have here is a very short presentation about Fibercom, and indeed the topic of discussion, which is how digital transactions are shaping the future of business. I would like to start by introducing my company, Fibercom. Fibercom Limited is basically a telecommunications company that specializes in the provision of ICT services. And these ICT services range from IP traffic provision, which is basically internet service, to lease lines. These lines are basically companies that would like to have connectivity between their branches in various locations. We are also We also provide bulk digital data carrier services, particularly for mobile service providers that want to connect various towns within Zambia. And we ride, or rather our connectivity is actually primarily based on the optic fiber network. And optic fiber network is basically a medium of communication. You know, we do have various media of communication, such as the space itself, where most people refer to as radio. They use radio technology to, you know, transfer information through space. But for optic fiber, it's a cable, a fixed line, in other words, where we actually dedicate a line through a certain path, and we are able to carry information from one place to the other. And this is information in the digital format. This kind of technology, compared to other medium of communication, is actually of superior advantages in terms of quality, speed, as well as noise rejection, and also just interference in general. So we prefer this is to be, in fact, in the industry right now, this is what is being preferred as the primary medium of communication. Fibercom Limited has actually interconnected all the provinces in Zambia, and we can assure all the business houses, wherever they are in this country, if they want to provide this service, that when they ride on the Fibercom network, actually they can deliver their services across the country. And we also have interconnected our fiber to neighboring countries. Currently, we have 5 neighboring countries that have interconnected our fiber. That fiber going beyond the neighboring countries, it actually connects the rest of Africa to the world. So what I have here is a map of Zambia, though not drawn to scale, but I think just to represent the network layout. This network layout is basically the backbone network. We have the metro in the various towns, which actually goes deeper into various locations. Currently, if you look at this map, we have connected basically all the provinces in Zambia and almost all the towns. We still have a few towns to connect, but there are projects that are ongoing. For instance, if you look in the eastern part there, we've got a blue line. This is just a project that is ongoing. We've already laid the fiber connecting Chipata and Lundazi and Chama. So it's just a matter of time that we are going to energize that one. So we are also having other projects that are ongoing to interconnect various towns that are yet to be connected. If you look at the neighboring towns, rather neighboring countries, like I mentioned, Tanzania is already interconnected, Malawi is connected, Zimbabwe is connected, Botswana and Namibia are connected. We are at the border with Angola on the other side, as well as the DRC Congo, including Mozambique. So we are just waiting for partners across these borders to interconnect with us. And then we have this information interchange between Zambia and these neighboring countries, and then beyond to the rest of the world. I think earlier this morning when the president was giving his keynote speech, he did mention that we are actually the hub of trading in this region. So this is where Fibercom fits in very well, because we've actually positioned ourselves with a broadband network in terms of digital technology. Coming back to a topic of discussion, I was thinking we first look at digital technology before we actually look at the digital transactions that are shaping the future of business in future. So in terms of digital technology, we need first to appreciate that digital technology basically is an application of scientific knowledge, in our practical, environment. And in the last century, 20th century, I think we noticed that technology was mainly based at the industry level. Now, with the in the recent past, or let me just say in the 21st century, we've seen this technology shift from industry-based to actually up to the individual level. What I mean by that is that we see that now data processing is actually being done at the individual level. So this means a lot to a business house, in the sense that they are able to interact with the individuals directly, and individuals now, they use different devices such as mobile devices and laptops to actually interact between themselves and the business houses. So it has actually provided an abundance of information. And this information, basically, you have all these information that you need to look at for business, education, and even social interaction. Basically, what we're trying to look at, or rather what we can talk about, is that we are in a technological evolution. And so we need to embrace this digital technology for us to move forward. And business houses that lag behind, they actually fall off in terms of competition. So this is why I call upon all the business houses that they need to embrace, digital technology, because the digital capabilities of a business is really fundamental to remaining competitive in today's market. Digital technologies are rapidly changing and evolving, which in turn increase competition and the need for companies to, innovate quickly. So we can look at the benefits of embracing digital technology. We appreciate that the business landscape is becoming increasingly complex. So for a company to actually be successful in the 21st century, it is vital that they adopt digital innovations that can help them to achieve their objectives and stay ahead of their competitors. So some of the advantages that we see in the cost saving, efficiency, and productivity. And also they remain competitive, in the market, because with these technologies that are on the market, once the business houses embrace them, actually you find that they have a lot of savings, they're more efficient, productive, and actually they remain competitive. Now, when we look at digital transaction as the theme topic of today, we find that this basically translates into a cashless society. And most of the companies, or let me say most of the countries, they are actually going cashless. We no longer see people carrying, banknotes, coins, and so on, moving into the shop. So they are carrying maybe their mobile phone or just cards, to transact. So we are moving into that space, especially in this 21st century. And also offices are becoming paperless. So these are also issues to do with the environmental issues that we're trying to embrace. So we find that actually we've gone into the world of virtual interaction. And this thing has actually been accelerated by the current pandemic, where we no longer meet face to face, but we are in a virtual interactive sort of mode. Even in this platform where we are right now, you can see the benefit of embracing digital innovations, without which it would have been very difficult for such an event to be held virtually. So it is important that even businesses that have embraced this thing are able to interact. And for those businesses that may not even have such a facility, I'm sure they've missed out such an important event. And now we see that with all these digital innovations and digital transactions that are taking place, we've seen that commodities and services are now being delivered to the doorstep, to the individual. There's a shift from moving from your home to go and collect the commodity, but it's the other way around. The commodity is actually getting to your premises, in a very, very efficient manner, very, very fast, and you really make a lot of saving out of that transaction. Now, what we need to look at, going forward in the 21st century, what is the position of the business? For business houses to survive in the 21st century, I think looking at what I've just highlighted, you find that they need to make their business processes as simple as possible. And simplicity in this case is basically helps or is facilitated by embracing digital technology. And because it gives the platform, a wider platform for them to do their business, they need to also to interoperate with other business houses, with other stakeholders, so that at least they can achieve their objectives, without which they cannot stand alone in this environment, because the payments may be made online and the banks are there to facilitate that payment on behalf of those business houses. So there's this kind of interoperable arrangement. Similarly, I mean, there are all these other electronic platforms that are available, which may be provided by other providers such as Fibercom, and they need to interoperate with Fibercom for them actually to succeed going forward. And of course, collaborative issues are very, very important, because without them, it will be very, very difficult for business, entities to, to survive in the 21st century. These are basically some of the few points that I looked at to try and maybe share with the business houses going forward. And the Fibercom is available at this event, the Lusaka Expo, and please, those that manage to come through, you can come to our booth, and we'll be able to share more information about how we can, interoperate, collaborate, and indeed provide simplicity processes for your business operations. I thank you.
Simon Muo, who is the CEO of Fibercom, he gave us a presentation on how digital transactions are shaping the future of business. He spoke a lot about the benefits of these digital transactions, that they're cashless, paperless, and that we can engage the way we are now virtually. So thanks very much to Mr. Simon Muo from Fibercom. And of course, Fibercom will be exhibiting tomorrow at the Expo. Now moving on, next we have the CEO of MTN Zambia, Mr. Bart Hofka, and he will be speaking to us about the contribution of the mobile phone technology to the SME industry. Mr. Hofka, are you there? Good afternoon, Mr. Hofka, can you hear me? Okay, we'll give him a few minutes. Okay, joining Mr. Hofka will be Mr. Boyd Banda. He's the Senior Manager for Indirect Channels and Strategic Partnerships at MTN Zambia. Bring an advert. Hofka.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Is that Mr. Hofka? Are you with us?
Good afternoon.
Yes, joining Mr. Hofka is Mr. Boyd Banda, who is the Senior Manager for Indirect Channels and Strategic Partnerships for MTN Zambia. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Mr. Hofka, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, entrepreneurs, today I'm going to talk about how mobile phones, or rather smartphones, and mobile services, mobile money, and technology in general can contribute to a flourishing climate for small and medium-sized enterprises. Well, there is a lot. So let's take a step back for the bigger picture. This is 2021. The world is going through a pandemic, and at the same time, a revolution is going on, the so-called Fourth Industrial Revolution. So we live in a time of unprecedented developments in technology, which will have impact on how we do business and even on how we live our lives. And this development is only accelerated by the pandemic. So I'm sure we all heard about 5G, the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and so on. And we love this stuff in our business. And yes, MTN is on top of all new developments. Also, the Zambian government is keeping track of these developments because the changes are inevitable. They will come because we are living in a connected society. But you may ask, how does this change anything for small and medium-sized businesses? What's in it for me? And more importantly, not in 10 years' time, but tomorrow or even today. For example, if you run a barbershop or a design agency, you probably don't care too much about artificial intelligence. And you are right about that. And that is because there is a bigger challenge for Zambia, a bigger opportunity. And the constant push for technology is also widening the digital divide every day. And this creates more inequality. Not just in terms of rich and poor, young and old, or urban and rural, but also in terms of relationships, interactions, and transactions between people and businesses. And this gap urgently needs closing for the economy's sake. That is the first priority. So a few years back, MTN formulated a purpose for the company to link our core business to the benefits for society. And I will tell you what it is. Everybody deserves the benefits of a modern, connected life. For the purpose of this audience, I can rephrase it as every entrepreneur deserves the benefits of a modern, connected business environment. So small and medium-sized enterprises are driving the economy of Zambia. They create the most jobs in the country and account for more than 2/3 of the gross domestic product. So your capacity to connect is instrumental to being competitive and successful. I will just give you some examples how it can help you to be super connected. So it is, of course, to connect and to interact with your customers, with your suppliers, and with institutions. You can advertise your products and services online. You can organize your customer service online and through social media. You can access all kinds of business information. You can gain knowledge about your industry, your competitors, and new developments. You can access financial services like mobile banking. You can facilitate working from home for your employees or for yourself. This is just a beginning, just a small sample of the possibilities. Now, if you look at MTN Zambia itself as an example, so we have 8.8 million customers on voice, but only 2.6 active data users, of which almost half is still only on 2G. So that is our challenge, to digitally connect 6.2 million customers. That is 70% of our base. So 60% of our customers have never used Google or Wikipedia to search for information, or use Twitter to express themselves or learn other people's views. And 73% of our customer base has never used an app on our 3G network. As a result, the majority of our customer base lack the digital skills that can lead to economic empowerment. So what do we do? What do we do as MTN Zambia to bridge that gap? So it all starts for us, it all starts with offering broadband coverage in the whole country. In 2019 and 2020, MTN Zambia invested $55 million only in the network. In the last 24 months, we increased 3G population coverage from 60% to 75% today. And we're still on that track. And we have added already 132 sites in rural, low-density areas. That is about coverage. Another barrier for many customers, for many people to become digital, is the price of a smartphone. So MTN introduced affordable entry-level 3G and 4G phones. We are selling these phones without margin, and we're selling them in high volumes. We also have introduced a Momo Pay, making it easier to do business on the mobile money platform. Education, a topic in itself. So customers often don't know how to use mobile internet and digital services. Together with Facebook, we did develop an educational program through our sales agents. We have introduced the free messenger service, Iowa, so everybody can experience the social platform for free. Also, we offer our customers free data on the search engine Opera. And we have set up the MTN Foundation as a vehicle for our social programs. One of the focus areas of the foundation will be to support STEM education, especially for girls. so they can set themselves up for success as future entrepreneurs. So to come back on where I started, MTN is testing and learning with 5G and other advanced technologies. We do that. And rest assured, we will make sure that when our network is 5G ready, and when the time comes, when the relevant use cases arrive, we will adopt and commercialize very quickly, also here in Zambia. But my point is, it is more important now to get as much people as possible to be connected to mobile or fixed broadband, to educate the use of digital services. That is our main focus. The more people we connect just to 3G and 4G, the more Zambia can be unleashed to its full potential. So every new customer, every new 3G customer is one more person or business entering a modern connected life and enjoying its benefits. And for us as MTN, that is another step forward in fulfilling our purpose. Or in other words, no one should be left behind. Thank you very much. And I'm ready also to take answers whenever you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Bart Hofka, who's the CEO of MTN Zambia. And with him, we have Mr. Boyd Banda, who is a Senior Manager in Direct Channels and Strategic Partnerships at MTN. Mr. Banda, what is your contribution on this discussion?
Good afternoon, everyone. So what I'll be doing is basically just doing an add-on to what Bart has already explained. And I'll be sharing a very short slide deck, just highlighting some of the things that you should expect at this expo. And also for those that may not be able to make it, you can reach out to any of our service centers with some of the solutions that I'll be discussing. So just let me know if you can see my slide.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So basically, I'll be very quick. What we've done is we've taken time to basically look at the SME market in Zambia, and we've come to a place where we basically appreciate the challenges, the specific things that enable SMEs. And so I'll just take us through a few slides which speak into some of the solutions that you can get more detail at our stand at the expo itself. And in case you don't make it to the expo, you can still reach us at any of our centers. So the first thing I want to speak about is what we're calling Blaze. This is a connectivity services, an internet service that we've tailored, designed for SMEs and also for homes. Now, what is different about Blaze? The normal delivery of 4G internet to homes or to mobile devices basically is on a consumable platform where you basically buy, let's say, 100 GB and you can use as fast as you want, but it basically is depleted. Now, Blaze is different because we're selling you speed. So with Blaze, you can get up to 5, 10, 20 GB. And the advantage is you only pay once every month. So if you subscribe to a 5 GB, you will get this service running for the whole month. So this, we think and believe, it's actually a perfect product for every SME, because if you're running a business, you don't want to run out of data, because then you cannot transact. So please take time to go through our stand and just interact with some of our guys who will be at the stand to support you. Secondly, we've introduced very special bundles, what we call the SME bundle. Now, this is under what we're calling the Tamanga proposition. Now, in a nutshell, what this is all about is, again, in response to the many SMEs in this country that span across different spheres, from trading, supply, and so on and so forth. So what we've done is the first offer is what we call the SME Starter Pack, which is really under the SME bundle. Now, what's so special about the Starter Pack? So what we do with the Starter Pack is you come into a simple contract, a very quick contract, where you'll be paying a very reasonable amount. I'll be sharing the value just now. You pay that value every month, and we give you when you sign up, you get a device, which is a router. You get a desk phone, which you can use for your office. You also get the Office 365, which is a license. And you should be able to do a number of things from Excel and everything else that comes with it. Then in case you do not want to do any contracts, we've gone ahead to package this SME offer. All you need to do is to get an SME SIM card, and they're all over our service centers. You can reach us. You can actually get one in any of the service centers. With this one, so first of all, if you look at the first table up there, this speaks into a starter pack. So for $4.99 every month, you get 10 GB, you get all 365, you get 100 at the start, 100 minutes, and this is valid for 30 days. And then beyond that, if you look at the table below here, basically these are the offers that we have. We've got SME 50, SME 120, SME 320, 550. So if you don't want to get into any contracts, you can actually still get a SIM card and you'll be able to get connectivity and others offers. So for the detail, we encourage you to be part of, just come through our desk and we'll be able to speak to you. Then we also understand that not every SME in Zambia has a website and is able to transact online, especially in these very difficult times of the pandemic. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and created what we're calling the MTN e-commerce platform, which is a Zambezi.com platform. Now, what this does for you as an SME is instant from the time that you sign up. Basically, we are enabling you to be able to actually have a web presence. That's number one. I'm going to cut this and just jump into the process of how this works. We've basically enabled you to have web presence. So through a simple registration, which is free, when you register, we will get your details, and when you'll be exposed to the different packages that are available under this platform. Now, when you subscribe to any of the platforms, we come in and we create your profile, everything. So we do all the photo shoot and all the creation. We do that for you. Then we set you up. In a nutshell, with this process, you will now be able to transact online. So whether you're a trader, you're a wholesaler, you want to offload stuff in bulk and so on, you actually are able to come onto this platform. So in a nutshell, we create a web presence for you and also enable you to transact online instantly. One thing that is also key is with this platform, you are able to access the entire nation of Zambia and also access Africa through this platform. So for detail, again, we can't exhaust this conversation in this presentation. We encourage you to just reach out to us. Then we also wanted to just bring to your attention for both the large corporates and SMEs that we have what we call the MTN bulk SMS offer. Now, basically, with this solution, it's dynamic, it's scalable, and so what are some of the advantages that you have? Again, it's ease of access to your markets. So, for instance, if you cannot afford to maybe pay for print advertising or radio and so on and so forth, which are great, you can actually target or reach your customers through bulk SMS. So for a fee, you'll be able to access a number of SMSs which you can target to a base, maybe your entire base of customers and so on and so forth. So again, this is a service we would like you to take advantage of. Now, beyond that, I think this has been topical. We have what we call the mobile money business, which is key. Currently, I think almost every person in the nation knows about mobile money. Now, what we have done with mobile money is we've actually tailored solutions which cover every vertical. So you're talking about people playing in the farming sector or agriculture sector, distribution and retail, schools, government, health. We cut across. So in terms of transactions, of course, we can pick a few examples. You can do things like pay salaries, pay bills, receive payments, and so on. So all those things are enabled. And in terms of onboarding, again, on the mobile money platform, we do not charge you for that. You basically can onboard for free, and you have access to everything that I spoke about, which is transfers. You can actually move money between your bank and your wallet and vice versa. You can view your statements, you can view reports, you can buy airtime, you can create invoices, you can bill, collect, you can and other payments. You do salary, which I spoke about, bill payments, and so on. So we encourage you to also take advantage. We'll have a team that's actually ready to onboard you through this expo. And if you're not able to make the expo, you can actually reach us even beyond that. And finally, if you look at the products that we basically have under mobile money, we've got collection, money from mobile money consumer. Then you can pay your suppliers. I spoke about that. Salaries, collect bills, create invoices. What do I mean by collect bills? People can pay you through mobile money. Then accept online payments. You can self-register online. You can transfer money from one bank account to another through mobile money, and so on. Then in terms of pricing, no monthly subscription fee, no registration fee, free to open an account, fees as low as 1%, no monthly recurring or maintenance transactions, a fee cheaper than any bank that you currently know. We're not trying to kill the banks, but we're just trying to enable the SME. So the more users you have, the less the charge. So in a nutshell, what we're saying is we have solutions that are tailor-made for both the SME and the large enterprise. And so please take time to visit our stand at the expo. We'll be delighted. Our team will be there and we'll be delighted to interact with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was the Boyd Banda, the Senior Manager, Indirect Channels and Strategic Partnerships for MTN Zambia. And before him, we had the CEO of MTN Zambia, Mr. Bart Oscar, speaking about the contribution of mobile phone technology to SMEs, to the SME industry in the country. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for that presentation. Now, moving on, we'll be having our next panel discussion, which will be moderated by Mrs. Margaret Chikuba from the Ministry of Congress and Trade and Industry, and she will be looking at industrialization as the gateway to minimizing the import dependence of doing business in Zambia. Good afternoon and welcome back, Mrs. Chikuba.
Good afternoon. Sorry, good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, you can go ahead with your panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Kangwa. Welcome everybody. On my panel this afternoon, I have 4 panelists. I have a panelist, Engineer Bernard Chiwala. I have Mark Sinyangwe, and I also have Luo Siwale and Mr. Jabez Mbewe. I will call upon each of them to introduce themselves before we start. But this panel, we will be talking about industrialization as the gateway to minimizing the import dependency of doing business in Zambia. So I will start with Engineer Bernard Siwale. Engineer, I don't see the Engineer Siwale on this panel. Okay, so I will go on to invite Mr. Jabez Mbewe. Mr. Jabez, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and the company and what you do.
Okay, my name is Jabez Mbewe. I work for SARO, and I have been in the farm machinery business for quite some time now, over 40 years. Basically, distributing and servicing of farm machinery, and also be able to advise customers what best they can get, and usage of the farm machinery as well. So this is my role.
Thank you, Mr.
Sorry to interrupt you. Could I request that all the panelists turn on their cameras, please, before we proceed with the discussion?
Thank you very much for that.
Okay.
So Mark, you're on. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Max Nyangwe. I'm the sales and the marketing manager for Marco Polo Towels. My job is to ensure that whatever we produce at Marco Polo Towels is actually sold out to the market. And this is Marco Polo that has been in existence from 2016 to now, 2017. I've been doing the same.
Thank you very much, Kwangu. Mr. Engineer Bernard Siwale, you have joined us. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. Okay, we're not getting any feedback from engineer, but I saw his name popping up. Luo, are you able to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do? Okay, so I guess the other panelists, as they try to join us in getting onto this technology, we will still start. Mark, I will start with you. You are a player in the industry, and this session, as you can see, is about industrialization. We know that you have come onto a market which is dominated by imports, and you have come with a very good quality product. And please tell us what it is, what the experience has been for the company in terms of competition, and how you have been able to come and try and find your feet onto the market, and also how you're doing in terms of export.
Okay, just a little bit of a background of what Marco Polo Towels is. You know, before the company started, that was in 2016, before we started construction even of the factory, we did a feasibility study, and then we found out that actually in Zambia, we are privileged to have materials that are needed for production of porcelain towels. And this took us, you know, to go further in opening up a plant here in Zambia to start producing porcelain towels. Now, what it is when we had started producing porcelain towels, and that was in 2017 when the factory was complete and then commissioned by His Honor, the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Dr. Edward Chegolungu. He came commissioned the plant in December of 2017. And when we started producing those towels, it was a little bit hard to get them on the market, just like you have alluded to, with a lot of competitors. You know, everything that was on the market in terms of towels, they were actually coming from outside. They were being imported into Zambia, coming from South Africa, you know, towels coming from Egypt, India, China, others even from Brazil. So towels were coming from everywhere. So to penetrate such a market was a bit, actually it was very hard, in the sense that every buyer would just like, you know, look at local towels and say, no, we can't buy local. We can't go for local. We just want, you know, imported towels. So that's the challenge that we had. But with time, people learned of our towels and they would not even, you know, compare them with those that are imported this time.
That's very interesting to hear. So maybe we can get on to Mr. Mbewe. You are a company that produces or that deals in agriculture equipment, and you yourself has been involved in agriculture. We know that agriculture in Zambia is a stepping stone to industrialization, provides raw materials for further processing. Could you tell us a little bit about Saro Agro, and also give us some remarks on how your company is helping to facilitate the agenda of industrialization in the country?
Yeah, I think Saro is well placed in a dynamic sector, agricultural sector. And I think the inclination worldwide is that agriculture is a mainstay of any country to survive well. And so Saro into it with two legs. We provide the farm machinery, and also we maintain the farm machinery. Some of it we import, and some of it we make ourselves. We find ourselves in a privileged position because we cover all stages of all categories of customers or farmers, from small scale using a hand hoe to a commercial farmer who uses sophisticated tractors and spraying equipment. So we provide all kinds of farming equipment, and we train how to use them, and also maintain farm equipment that we provide onto the market. Of late, we've seen that a lot more Zambians are coming on board to become farmers, because they know that's where you can make money and that's where you can live comfortably.
Thank you, Mr. Mbewe. So maybe coming on to Luo, you deal with inputs which support agriculture, if I've got understanding correct. Please tell us a bit about ETG. What is it that ETG has to offer to entrepreneurs out there to get them to industrialize? Sorry, Lua, we can't hear you. You need to speak up a bit.
Can you get me now?
Yes, just a bit louder, please.
My name is Rod. I'm an agronomist. Basically, the company provides farming input such as fertilizers and agrochemicals. We also include the brand for Pamarama, where also other and so basically our main backbone provides environmental friendly fertilizers that are timely rich and organic. Apart from that, we also provide some farmers, most of farmers, also the farmers, and also there are also other many other aspects such as contact training, also access information by platform, WhatsApp, and also the most effective use of product mobile app where farmers are able to the news, which provide clear information about it. Also going for various topics.
Okay, so I'll request Lua that when you speak, maybe if since your video is off, if you could speak just a bit louder and probably closer to your gadget so that we can hear you a bit more louder. We don't want to miss the good news you have for us. Mr. Mbewe, we will talk a little bit about agriculture. I know a lot of people have gone into agriculture now, and I think agriculture is a very good place to start for industrialization. Could you just tell us what are the opportunities in Zambia for industrialization so far from your experience and what you have seen in terms of your supply of equipment?
I think for some time, many Zambians haven't had the chance to access agricultural machinery because of the cost of machinery and also because of lack of financing. But those who did manage actually have benefited from what we supply, tractors and tractor equipment. And also we supply the processing equipment like hammer mills, dehullers, which are very easy to handle if one wants to go into a small business. And also we produce locally, the peanut butter machines, which again will enable someone to start a business. But apart from all these that are coming in to buy cash, there is now a development where people can access cash or loans. Of course, banks have been doing it, but to a smaller scale because of their demands of what they want before one can get a loan from them. But now we have interventions mainly from agricultural risking company, Agrisco. We've been dealing with them now for 3 years, and it appears that this is the way Zambians should go. A lot more people have gotten access to Agrisco loans to acquire tractors, to acquire hammer mills, water pumps for irrigation, and small tractors, walking tractors. These have been popular, especially among the ladies or women farmers, because there's another intervention from Lusaka, who have come in and joined Agrisco to assist in absorbing interests for women farmers. If they want to get a two tractor, Lusaka has offered to pay interest. So the borrower now has to pay the principal. So we saw last year that whereas in the past we used to sell maybe 20 walking tractors, we were close to 100 because many women came on board to buy the two tractor. And apart from that, also many women have come on board to buy irrigation equipment to keep them busy throughout the year. As you know, most of the farming activity in Zambia is during the rain season, but during the off season, you find that many people are dormant, doing nothing. But now, because of the solar equipment that we supply, water pumps, petrol, diesel driven, many more women have come on board now to get this equipment, and men, of course. So we find that many people are thinking in the future will benefit from this facility that is there. And I know some other financing agencies are coming in, trying to copy from what Agrisco is doing, which is working very well. So far, up to now, we have had 0 defaults. It's well done.
That's very good to hear and very encouraging, especially for our entrepreneurs who intend to get into processing and mass production in agriculture. Luo, just still on agriculture.
Yeah, can I just mention one intervention which is very key also? This
Yes.
is from the government. This is from the government side.
Yes,
civil
please.
servants now can access agricultural loans from public service microfinance company. When it started, quite a few civil servants bought tractors and farm equipment. And I think this is one area again which most of the civil servants can get access to farming equipment.
Okay, that's really good to hear. I was coming to Luo to just while we're still on agriculture, could you just tell us how we're doing in terms of inputs? We look like we are getting and looking up on the equipment side, which is meant to help us. It's meant to help us. Sorry, I can hear some talking in the background, so if you can mute your microphone when you're not talking. Could you just give us an indication, what is the prospects? What are the prospects in terms of actual inputs into agriculture? If you can, if at all you are able to indicate in how small-scale entrepreneurs are doing in terms of accessing inputs for their agriculture activities.
Okay. Basically, access to so far we've got a larger number now for small scale farming to working in different depths for the country. Can say if it's on each side, we spread across the country, and the region is quite good from our farmers. There's a lot of different innovations we have come up with respect to research. You may know, a long time ago, to find a farmer who has been doing maybe a hectare, and they've been getting a minimum of say 1 ton, 1.5 tons per hectare. Now there's a lot of research has been done to improve the yield for farmers, and that research has also resulted into us coming up with good value-added products like such as a blended fertilizer, which has got good soil conditioners such as lime and organic matter, which also helps them maximize yield. And also, there's also a top dressing, which is called a kind of plus, avoid volatilization. We also got other products called imported urea, but they also avoid those so farmers are able to from their they are able to maximize their profit due to them getting enough out of what they apply every crop. So far, these products have been running out of stock because they know how they're benefiting them. And due to this, that caused most of these young farmers, including the youth, trying to engage more in agriculture as a way of also making.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Aluo. Probably we now move on back to Mark. Mark, your company has really shown that we can industrialize. Could you give us a few ideas and a few hints to encourage entrepreneurs on what it is that entrepreneurs can look to do and look out to step out and be able to get into a competitive market of imports and be able to get a comfortable place to, for lack of a better term, start stamping out imports in a sector. Could you speak a little bit about that? Mark, you are muted. I can see you're speaking, but you're muted. Please turn on your microphone.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I didn't know my camera was, my microphone was off. I was just trying to say that what just Mr. Jabez Mbewe was mentioning is a very good thing. He mentioned about them producing machines that are producing peanut butter. And trust me, those machines are good, It's just like when we started producing towels, we had the domestic markets to feed. That was a Zambian population of about 17 to 18 million people. So we thought that was the only market that we could access then. Now, when we got to tap onto this market, we found that it was a bit hard, just like I earlier mentioned. It was very difficult to sell any towels. But with time, people learned of our towels that they were actually very good. And then we tried to tap the market from outside Zambia. And in our planning, we were like, we'll take like 80% local market, and then maybe 20% we just go to the external market. It turned out to be different. This time, as we are talking, I'll tell you that we've got 60% that has gone to export market, and we have 40% on the local market in terms of sales. So Zambia has the ability to become the icon of industrialization in the southern region of Africa. Long ago, we used to say we are a landlocked country, and that used to be like an hindrance. We had no access to the sea, the seaport. But trust me, we are a landlocked country. We've got 8 neighboring countries. So meaning we've got this market around us. For instance, if you are producing certain type of goods and you want to get them out, it's actually very good because everywhere else, whichever direction you take, your products will go, just like we were doing on our towels. We're exporting to all the 8 countries around. without much difficulty. And our towels have been embraced by everybody because they've seen the quality of product that we are producing. So we believe that if everyone was to take the same course, you know, we don't just concentrate on the Zambian market. Don't produce and just concentrate on the Zambian market. Here, we have the government to help us. Look at today, we've got this, you know, Lusaka Business EXPO. This is for Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, maybe to test and see what the local, you know, industries are able to do. Then, if you're producing something and you want to sell, reach out to this ministry. Then they're able to give you ways and means on how you can export your goods. We've got Zambia Bureau of Standards. When you get to Zambia Bureau of Standards, they'll look at your products, certify them, they'll give you a certificate which you can use to export your goods on the outside, because now those from the outside, they'll not doubt your goods. So instead of just looking at the local or domestic market of the products that we're producing, we've got an external market, and which is very big, very wide. The southern region, we're talking about over 350 million people just in the Southern Africa, South Africa inclusive. Zambia was just about 18 million people, 18 to 19. So we believe that with the way we have seen Marco Polo growing, you know, in a space of just about 3-4 years, the graph has been going up like this. Whereas on the Zambian market, it was growing a bit slow, but when we tested the outside market, we saw that the graph is actually going very high and still going very high. So we just have to encourage everybody producing their goods, but let them not just concentrate on the Zambian market. We've got a very huge market, you know, in the region. We've got SADC, we've got COMESA, all these countries have come up together in helping to improve, you know, trade amongst us. And at large, we've got, you know, Africa now becoming a free trade area. So this is going to be very good for us. And actually, this is indeed very good. I just want to make mention that, you know, when we had started doing the towels, producing the porcelain towels, the quality was thought to be something that can fade within a short period of time, that the quality would not be good. Now, when people started buying our towels, installed in their properties, they noticed the difference. Our porcelain towels don't take in water, you know, meaning if you install them like in a bathroom on the walls, they will not seep in water. So the towels that we are producing are called porcelain towels, and they're heated up to 1,400 degrees Celsius as compared to the imported towels. Those imported towels, when they come in the country, they look good from the outside, but the material content and the way they are heated up, they don't make up to good towels. That we challenge people that import towels to prove for themselves. So we've got porcelain towels and ceramic towels, two things, porcelain and ceramic towels. So for a porcelain towel, it doesn't take in water. Water absorption is almost 0% as compared to a ceramic, which takes about, you know, almost 6%. It sips in water too much. And these are towels, once you install them, after some time, they'll fall off, or they'll change their look, they'll start fading. So having done that here in Zambia, we've seen a lot of people coming. I'll tell you, people from Australia, people from USA, people from Europe, the whole world, they call asking for Marco Polo towels. So apart from the southern region of Africa, we've got the entire Africa and world at large, that the market actually is out there. So if every small company in Zambia can try to do their best, they can make Zambia become a beacon as, you know, not just a country that does trading, but that does production, manufacturing of goods. And then we can grow as a nation. We can grow the GDP of this economy to something else that can change the whole living standards of our own people.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's very insightful, Mark, and it's impressive to hear that you are not just looking at the Zambian market, but also taking a leap to produce for the region and for the entire of the continent and even beyond. It's a big challenge, and I think it's a good example of what our companies that are producing locally, and especially the SMEs, to give them hope that something can come out of Zambia and we can industrialize. At this point, I would like to just request that maybe in a short 1 minute, indicate and encourage our entrepreneurs that it is possible to industrialize and we can get there. Maybe I start with Mr. Mbewe, who is, I start with Luo, who produces inputs.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I would like to encourage entrepreneurs out there to venture into agriculture. As you may know now, information is very easy now to access. Country. We can access information on the different access the information on the mobile app. We can access the information through different cooperative partners or with business network channels. We run different training, different crops. We provide specific crop-specific fertilizers for each and every crop that we have managed to study each and every crop requirement, therefore to maximize the yield. Because our main focus is to encourage or book farmers so that they can produce the highest yield. Because we believe as farmers grow, we also grow as a company. We have been training women around the country. We continue doing that. So just like us, it's good to us
Thank you, Lua. That was very good information. I encourage those that are participating today that are going to be at the exhibition area tomorrow to please pass through. We heard a little bit and a little bit didn't hear of what you were saying, but I'm sure ETG is able to provide more information on how they can assist entrepreneurs industrialize, because really this is a gateway. At this point, I ask Mr. Mbewe to just also say one encouraging remark, just under 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. I would like to echo Luo's call that agriculture as a business. It doesn't require much, or if you have got land, surely you can start your business anytime. Tools are there, interventions for supply of tools like financiers are there. And so we invite people out there to start farming because it is profitable. You just heard, I think, on radio that Zambia this year has produced the record amount of maize. And most of this will be exported, of course. We can't eat it all. Mike was saying that they're exporting their products out into other countries. We also at do. We've exported tools that we've made in Zambia to surrounding countries, and also even as far as Kenya, where one of the items came from there, but it was expensive for us to import. Now we are making it, and we did actually export at one time to Kenya itself, where it came from. So that's the way to go.
Thank you, Mr. Mbewe. Yes, that's very encouraging. Again, this shows that we don't only are able to make something that is consumed, but we can make something that produces what can be consumed. Thank you very much, entrepreneurs. You've heard for yourselves. Mark, one last word.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, see that remember when China started, becoming what they are today, whenever they were producing every other little product, they would label it made in China, high quality, low quality, made in China. But then that was going all over. And then China became, victorious, like they are known everywhere, that actually they're the one that produced the masterpiece of what we see in the world, machinery and stuff like that. So all I'm just trying to encourage our local industry that whenever we are producing our own goods, let's label them made in Zambia, made in Zambia. We are proud to say so because our towels say so, that they are made in Zambia, a Zambian product. I would also mention that, we have had a barrier exporting our products outside Zambia when we started, because we didn't know where to get that kind of information. How do we go about, exporting to countries that we've never been to? So through Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, the door was open. Actually, they were very much open, such that we have had no much difficulty in exporting to these countries. When you get the government involved to help you, you're going to get the products to the right hands. And indeed, the Zambia Bureau of Standards, once your goods are certified, trust me, like they've done on our part, your goods will not be doubted, and it'll be very easy for you to sell them anywhere. We've got Congo, which is a big market in the southern region with more than 86 million people as compared to Zambia, even bigger than South Africa. So we really have a lot to do in Zambia, and we have the opportunity to grow our industry. Let's export that which we are producing locally.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you, Mr. Mbewe. Thank you, Laura. You've heard for yourselves, participants. Please make sure you make your way to the exhibition place so you can see the quality of the goods that are produced in Zambia and supplied by our own industries that are leading the way in industrialization. But let's all remember, there is the issue of quality and standards. And the Zambia Bureau of Standards will be at the exhibition place to give you guidance and any support that you will need. At this point, I would like to hand back hand back to Kwangu, as we have come to the end of this session. Thank you very much, Kwangu. Thank you, participants, for this session.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Margaret Chikuba from the Ministry of Commerce. A very interesting discussion there. Very encouraging to learn about our local businesses that are expanding and going beyond our borders. Now, our next presentation is coming from the Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board, and we have a Mr. Gilbert Mukumbe, who is Assistant Manager of Benefits. He'll be talking about a very interesting topic. It's compensation of workers for disabilities suffered or diseases contracted during their course of employment. So I hope you're there, Mr. Mukumbe. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kwangu. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Thank you very much for joining us, and just go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start by sharing my screen so that our participants can follow the deliberations as they unfold. Please let me know when you're able to see my PowerPoint slides so that I can start my presentation.
Okay, you're on now.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, like you heard, I'm Gilbert Mukumbe. I'm the Assistant Manager for Benefits coming from Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. So in terms of the establishment of the Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board, I wish to start by saying that this is a statutory body established by an act of Parliament, and currently we are being guided by the Workers' Compensation Act number 10 of 1999 of the law of Zambia. In terms of the mandate that we've been given by the law, ours is to compensate workers who suffer disabilities through occupational accidents or contract diseases in the course of employment. I'm sure you agree with me that for most businesses, you have workers that help you in meeting your objectives. So it's these workers that we try to safeguard by implementing what the Act stipulates. In order for us to realize our mandate, there are a number of functions that we've been given to do by the Act. The first one being the administration of the Workers' Compensation Fund. So this is a fund that is made out of contributions by employers, and you may wish to know that all employers who are carrying out a business in Zambia are required by law to register with the Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board for the purposes of ensuring that their workers taken care of in an event that they suffer a disability, either through occupational accidents or they contract a disease in the course of employment. The other function that we carry out as workers' compensation is that of accident prevention. So under this function, we have a fully fledged a section or department where we carry out a number of preventative activities. And these activities, I need to mention, are done for free for all those employers who are willing to actually get our services. So the other function that we have is that the promotion of health and safety of workers at workplaces. Connected to that, we also have a mandate, or rather a function, where we are required to implement a return to work programs. So return to work programs are just programs that are meant to rehabilitate, or that are meant to rehabilitate injured workers in terms of getting them in a condition where they'll be able to return or to be reintegrated in the labor market, as it were. So these are post accident activities that we carry out as workers' compensation. Of course, the other function that we carry out as workers' compensation is that of receiving accident notifications. So as a board, as WCFCB, we've got a mandate to receive accidents from employers in an event that their workers are involved in an accident and they need to be compensated, or rather they contract an employment related disease. The other function that we carry out is that of instituting inquiries into the cause of the accidents, so as to establish what really transpired. And this particular function helps us to understand what could be causing the most accidents at workplaces, which works as a learning point for us, so that we can come up with appropriate mitigating measures as we carry out our preventative function. The other function that we of course carry out as workers' compensation is that of paying compensation from the workers' compensation fund, and this is done in line with the provision of the Act. Then moving on, because we are talking about this important person, a worker, who is so cardinal to the success of our business and the achievement of our business objectives, we thought we should just define who this worker is. And according to the definition under the Workers' Compensation Act, a worker has been defined as any person who has entered into or works under a contract of service or apprenticeship or a learnership with an employer, whether the contract is expressed or implied, is oral or in writing, and whether the remuneration is calculated by time or by work done, or is paid in cash or in kind. It's quite a loaded definition there. Yeah, but that's how a worker has been defined under the Workers' Compensation Act. So, in order for us to carry out the mandate that we've been given by the Act, there are certain things that are needed to be done. And I'll start by looking at the obligations of the eligible employers. So for the eligible employers, like I earlier on stated, all employers were carrying out business in Zambia are required to register with workers' compensation, and of course there are exceptions, and the exceptions there's the civil service at the moment. We're not covering the civil service, and also the defense force. So for the others who are not exempted, they've got a responsibility to ensure that they do register themselves with workers' compensation, and also ensure that they declare earnings for their workers for the purposes of workers' compensation, coming up with an appropriate assessment that is payable into the fund. And of course, the other obligation that the employer has is that of reporting occupational accidents. Allow me now to look at the benefits that we have as Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. So what you're saying in that slide are some of the benefits that we have, and of course I need to mention that we offer both cash benefits as well as in-kind benefits, or non-cash benefits, if you like. Yeah, so the first one there is a medical refund. This is just a benefit that is given to an employer in an event that they experience an accident at a place of work, and in the process they incur medical expenses. So these medical expenses are actually refunded by workers' compensation, and currently there's no cap in terms of how much workers' compensation can refund, meaning that if an employer incurred medical expenses to the tune of 100,000, just as an example, workers' compensation will actually refund that amount to the employer who incurred that particular expense. I need to mention that there are times when the expense is incurred by the worker. Even in that situation, workers' compensation has an obligation to refund the expenses that were incurred by the injured worker himself, and it's done at 100%. We also have another benefit called the periodical payments. Okay, so these are payments that are made to the injured person during the period that they are unproductive. Of course, following the accident that they could have been involved in. The other benefits that we have as workers' compensation is that of a lump sum payment. So this is an amount that we pay to the injured person as a way of compensating them for the disability that they have suffered. And I need to mention that this one is a one-off payment. And of course, there's a criteria that actually determines whether we should pay a lump sum payment or a life pension, which is the next benefit that I'm going to talk about. So a life pension is essentially a payment that we give to the injured person after the disability has been ascertained, and then this injured person is assessed at a certain percentage. So we book such injured workers as life pensioners, and we pay them life and pension for life, as the term itself states. Then, other than the life pension, there are situations when the owner of a pension, the person who got injured, for instance, die. Because this is a life pension. This is a life pension. We, as workers' compensation, we've got an obligation to ensure that this pension is actually transferred to the widow or the widower, depending on the situation that we are faced with. And equally, this particular, payment is made for life, or until the widow or the widower decides to remarry. That's when this compensation terminates. And of course, we pay what we call widows or widowers gratuity to just to end that particular, obligation. Then, of course, connected to that is what we call the children allowances. These are allowances that are given to the children of pensioners. And I need to mention that this particular, payment only kicks in at the point when the pensioner has died. Okay. So when a pensioner has died, then the children allowance kicks in, and it's paid to all the children that were registered and who are below the age of 18. The other benefit that we have is that of a pension commutation. So pension commutation is a payment that is extended to beneficiaries, the injured workers who are booked as life pensioners, and we give them a chance to commute part of their pension so that a lump sum is actually yielded, and this amount of payment that comes out of pension commutation is then maybe invested in a business, or it's used to buy property, and yeah, and this is what we are doing as workers' compensation. Allow me to now talk about another cash benefit, which we call the constant attendance allowance. This is an allowance that is given to a pensioner, a disabled person, who is whose condition is such that they're unable to take care of themselves. So this amount is actually meant to be given to a caregiver, someone who's in a position to assist the disabled person to get by in life. The other benefits that follow, we have the rehabilitation and counseling, and these are non-cash benefits. So we offer rehabilitation services in terms of counseling to the pensioners who are in need of whatever counseling that they may need. Of course, we've got experts who are able to do an assessment and determine what kind of counseling should be offered to a particular pensioner. The other one is the return to work program. This is a very interesting program where we try as an institution to retool or reskill the disabled workers. Okay, so what happens here is that the disabled person is actually given a chance to acquire a new skill, different from the skill that they had before the accident, and with a view to at some point having them reintegrate into the labor market, or to give them skills that will be able to allow them to start maybe a business of some sort. Okay, so this is a very important the program that we have as workers' compensation. Then the other one, of course, is what we call the periodical payment examinations, periodical medical examinations. Sorry, this is a program where we subject our pensioners to medical examinations, especially those who at one point worked in what we call scheduled areas in the mines, in simple terms. Yeah, so these are given a chance to be examined, periodically, because usually what happens is certain conditions only come after so many years have passed. So in order for us to know how this person is faring towards such conditions, we subject them to periodical examinations, and this is done once a year. And then yeah, and if they are found to have acquired the condition, then they are compensated accordingly. Then the other one is the occupation and health program. So under the occupation and health programs, we have a number of programs that are targeted at workers, and of course we do this in collaboration with the employers, who are the business, the business community, as it were. Okay, so the slide that you're able to see there is just, trying to give a geographical spread in terms of where we are found as workers' compensation. Currently, we have a total number of 22 branches, dotted around the country. And I need to mention that we are represented in each provincial center. At this juncture, I would like you to just I would like you to just appreciate some of the statistics in terms of the registered beneficiaries, the people that we serve. So as at 31st March 2021, we had a total number of 19,944 as our registered beneficiaries, and the breakdown is as given there: 12,100 as pensioners, 5,722 as widowers, and then 2,117 as children. Yeah, so the other picture is just trying to give context to what I spoke about regarding return to work. This is one of our pensioners who was at some point involved in an occupational accident, and then we managed to take this person back to school, and she actually pursued a course in accounting, and she was fortunate enough to have been given an opportunity to join the workers' compensation staff. So she's actually an inspector at one of our branches on the Copper Belt. The other one is a picture showing one of our programs, which is a Return to Good Health program. So this particular caption is just trying to convey a message in terms of this beneficiary who's been flown to overseas for specialized treatment. So this particular person has scheduled a review arrangements with doctors, in India. So from time to time, we are required to facilitate his movement to India and then have that treatment as a way of, fulfilling our mandate as workers' compensation. Okay, so I'm sure we all agree that, in the course of our fulfilling the mandate, there will be disputes that will come along, and we have a dispute, resolution plan. Okay, and what we are seeing there is that disputes are actually resolved in the manner that we've shown on the screen. So there is what we call a formal inquiry, which handles different issues pertaining to compensation. It could be a dispute where it's been ascertained that the person who made the claim did not actually qualify. So you're bound to have such cases coming up from time to time. And then from the formal inquiry, you have the Workers' Compensation Tribunal. This is just another level of escalation in terms of the cases that we encounter. And of course, the last one is the courts of appeal. After the tribunal sat and made a decision, if the person who is aggrieved is not satisfied, then they've got recourse to actually take the matter to the courts of appeal. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention, and that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gilbert Makumbe, who is the Assistant Manager for Benefits at the Workers' Compensation Fund Control Board. He was talking about compensation of workers for disabilities suffered or diseases contracted during their course of employment. So moving on, now we go to our next discussion, and we'll be talking about managing business risks in the face of crisis and enhancing preparedness for a global pandemic. And joining me in this discussion on my panel this afternoon, I have the General Manager from Meanwood General Insurance, Mr. Christopher Mapipo. We've got a lady from Prudential Life Assurance, Problem Koli, and from Viraj Medical, we have a Mr. Felix. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon as we look at this. Just starting with Meanwood General Insurance, Mr. Mapipo, just tell us about your organization.
Well, Meanwood General Insurance is a short-term insurance company that is licensed by the Pensions and Insurance Authority, PIA. We began our operations in 2012, and the company has been in existence for close to 9 years now. Yeah, in fact, 9 years, because it was in April 2012. So we've been around for a while, although relatively new when you look at the veterans of the industry. We essentially tried, our focus is the SMEs and just bringing insurance to the retail level. We mainly pride ourselves in providing solutions for individuals and SMEs, small type of businesses, because these are, one, we realize they're the backbone of any economy, and two, they are the most vulnerable when it comes to business resilience, them bouncing back from the misfortune that may befall them. So that's in a brief, yeah, that's what we are about as Meanwood General Insurance.
All right, thanks very much. And Problem Koli, tell us about Prudential Life Assurance.
Prudential, as you all know, exists to help people get the most out of life, as I'm sure you can see on my screen. We are a long-term insurer. We have been in Zambia as Prudential for 5 years now, but we were the erstwhile Professional Life Assurance in existence for over 15 years. We're very passionate about making people healthier and wealthier, which we do via building relationships, both at an individual level through our retail business channels and our partnership distribution, group business through group life and group medical, and through our sister company, Prudential Pensions Management Zambia, where we do pensions admin and management.
Okay, we move to Viraj Medical, Mr. Felix, and maybe you can give us your full name as well and tell us about Viraj Medical.
Good afternoon, madam. My name is Philip Joka. I am the Business Development Officer here at Viraj Medicals. And we distribute medical equipment and consumables. We are the proud distributors of Fujifilm medical equipment and consumables. And we have a stand at the Lusaka Business EXPO this year, and we are so happy to partner with them. And we are really looking forward to see what this event has in store for us. For today, we kickstarted things, got the ball rolling, and we're quite pleased with the turnout of the people at our booth. We hope to see better tomorrow. And basically what our company does is distributes medical equipment, and we are the only authorized distributors of Fujifilm equipment. And we have since been established here in Zambia since 2005. We have been in the medical industry for quite some time, and basically we have created strategic partnerships with various NGOs, government, and we have managed to supply quite substantial amount of equipment around the country. And basically, we also provide after service service facilities for this equipment. And at our stand, we've got a lot of brochures and brochures basically to show you our wide spectrum of various types of equipment and services that we provide.
All right, thanks very much. So we're in the midst of a COVID pandemic and the threats of a third wave. I just want to go through each organization and find out what risk management tools have you now put in place in the wake of this pandemic? And I'll start with Prudential Life Assurance.
Thank you. Indeed, it has been a trying time. From March last year, when we had our first few cases, life has never been the same. But I think we should look back further when in December and January, we began to hear about COVID and we began to prepare for the inevitable, the fact that we would have cases in Zambia, there would be restrictions, business would be impacted. So the clear deliverables were business continuity. How are we going to continue to manage our business, protect our employees, protect our partners and the consultants who work with us to deliver our services to the market? But more importantly, it was about how does Prudential play a role to help our people, our clients and potential clients out there to manage risks that they will face as a result of COVID, be it redundancy, loss of jobs, ill health due to COVID or any other factors, and so on. So that was our thought process. And through that, we began to offer COVID cover. We offered it free to our customers. We offered COVID cover to medical personnel through the Ministry of Health. And we supported a lot of our clients with policies and procedures to implement to safeguard them from COVID.
Okay, let's move on to Meanwood General Insurance. And what mechanisms did you put in place in your organization?
Okay, as the former speaker just alluded to, COVID was a complete game changer. So we had to review the entire value chain in terms of what the value we deliver to our customers, and then those who help us deliver that's our staff. We've had to make sure, for example, our business model had to kind of shift to function in this new normal. We leaned heavily on digitalization, for example, so that people could work from home, and we just to avoid crowd in the office, having the social distance, and we made sure that we basically did not leave any opportunity for this disease to strike at the workplace, and also extended a number of benefits to our clients and the insuring public, in that we gave them more flexibility on the payment of premiums. Ordinarily, where I would say maximum you pay your premiums in 4 installments, would allow them 10 months or thereabouts, because we know that right now many were being squeezed hard with economic activity coming to a ground into a halt. So we basically tried to help them remain afloat and to weather the storm, so that once this phase is gone, they emerge stronger. That's essentially, although we didn't change our products per se, we just changed how we deliver them.
Christopher, just picking up on that, you've talked about flexibility when it came to repayments. Yes. Is that still standing, or everything has gone back to the way it was pre-COVID?
Not exactly. We still are very flexible with payments right now, because we do understand that you see, clients it's not one size fits all. Clients have got special circumstances. Some of them were worst hit. For example, our branch in Livingston suffered the most because their business, 90% of what they write in Livingston is tourism based. So when the lodges, the hotels, and no tourists were coming in, my manager had to think of plan B. How do you still sustain the branch minus the bulk of what gives you numbers? So we still maintain those flexibilities. Particularly Livingston is one area where we just had to say, follow them and ask them to say what will work for you right now. We understand you're not producing as much, but you still have assets that are still exposed. You still have, liabilities that you could incur because you're in business. So we still are very much flexible, and we've maintained that until such a time when the clients themselves, and we engage. So the clients themselves will say, okay, I think I'm back where I can manage to pay my premiums in 4 months, as opposed to the 10 months we're extending to them now.
Okay, Felix, come in and tell us about Viraj Medical and the risk management tools that were put in place in the wake of the pandemic.
Sorry,
Felix, did you get me there?
Oh, Felix, okay.
Hello, can you get
Hi,
me?
Felix. Yes, go ahead.
Basically, as Viraj Medicals, we have had to rely heavily on digitization, and since the COVID came in, it just came in as a shock. And us being in the medical industry, we have really had to work hard in terms of diagnosis. And what most people are forgetting is that there's been a lot of concentration on COVID when other diseases still prevail, such as tuberculosis and HIV and AIDS. So we really had to work hard in that respect. And those problems are still there. And we have been very busy. And in terms of deployment of consumables and our diagnostics equipment. Yes.
All right, thanks for that. And there was a stage where a lot of people were working from home. They had this hybrid working system. What effect did that have on your productivity of your employees and just the general operations of your organizations when people worked from home?
Most of our employees here are essential workers, so not many of them had the opportunity to stay home. The few who are really in doing administrative work and who have to send emails and communicate with our principals in South Africa had that luxury. But us being in the medical field, most of our employees really had to be on the ground, but of course practice being safe, masking up, keeping a social distance, and of course not finding themselves in crowded places because they had the mandate to work during this period.
Problem, what was your experience with hybrid working?
My experience.
Go ahead.
Problem.
All right, thanks. Interesting experience, very different. I think in Zambia, we were not used to working from home before COVID struck us. I think the first impact it had on myself and a lot of people that I work with is the emotional drain of being on our own. I think as human beings, and especially as Zambians, we're very, very social. We enjoy to be with each other and to be able to walk up to each other and have conversations. So the emotional stress of having to dial into meetings and, oh, I forgot to unmute and this, that, and the other. But I think eventually people got used to it. Now, my colleagues have spoken about the importance of digitization and having the tools and infrastructure. But what we noted as Prudential, both with our clients and with our staff, was the importance of appropriate and regular communication and engagement. When we're working remotely, it's very easy to feel detached. And so the importance of regular communication, reaching out to people, personalizing conversations was critical. Being nimble was critical as well. How quickly were we able to adapt to what our customers were asking for, to what our consultants were asking for? And specific to Prudential, we have about 1,500 business owners who provide Prudential solutions to the market as a part of their business. We had to quickly provide them with the platform to be able to have these conversations and maintain these relationships with their clients, despite the fact that they couldn't meet them face to face. So interesting journey, but it's been transformational for us. And I don't think we'll ever go back to pre-COVID in terms of ways of working.
And meanwhile, general insurance, did it impact on your productivity working from home?
Sorry, didn't get you.
Did it impact on your productivity working from home?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah. In fact, to a very large extent, it did impact on our productivity. Although that was not the biggest setback we had, but client reduction in productivity is what impacted our numbers more than our staff working from home, because it meant that value went through the window. A truck with a transporter with 15 trucks comprehensively insured suddenly reduces them to third party just to comply with road tax requirements, meant that income went through the window. But then in terms of operation, our system, we use online systems, that's web-based systems, where whether you're in a bus, you're at home, you're wherever, as long as there's internet, you can access our platform. So that wasn't much of a problem. Only that people had to be more disciplined for the deliverables to still maintain the same standard.
Okay, so all these organizations have gone through the first wave, you've gone through the second wave. Highly possible there will be a third wave. Are you ready for the third wave, Prablin Polly?
I want to say no, because emotionally, I don't think anybody's ready for a third wave. It's depressing to see what has happened with the third wave in so many countries. But practically, yes. Practically, our infrastructure, processes, people are already in geared in the eventuality that our beautiful country is impacted by a third wave. Prudential will comfortably continue to protect our employees, our people, our consultants, and continue to serve our markets the way we've done, and possibly even better. So emotionally, personally, no, but practically Prudential, yes.
Felix, how do you feel about the third wave?
About the third wave of the virus?
Yes.
The first one came as a shock. The second one we went through, and I'm sure we'll be pretty much prepared for this third one. For we have definitely adjusted to the ways of the coronavirus, COVID-19. We know we simply have to mask up, keep a social distance, stay home. And of course, our work practices have changed a little bit, but not pivoted 180 degrees. So we are basically going to be able to, I think, weather the third storm.
Christopher, your take on the third wave and how your organization will deal with it. Are you ready for it?
Of course, from a risk management perspective, we dread that we ever come to that. And however, we are in a post-COVID era. I mean, in a COVID era, and the new normal has demanded that we change. Like I said earlier, we reviewed our entire value chain. The world as we knew it before COVID had ended. We'll never go back to that. So the brick and mortar model of the business went through the window. So we feel that we are 1 year experience with COVID. The worst hit was when we didn't know what this was, or how it could impact us. But now we've lived 1 year plus with this thing, and the third time around it comes, I think we are now beginning to kind of not master it, but we are familiar with it, and we've put in these things. Will work and have worked even when we are caught off guard. So we feel we are relatively ready for the third wave. I think your volume is gone, your sound.
Okay, it seems like we can't get the studio.
Yeah,
so
Chris, we
Chris,
can't get you. Something's happened to your sound.
Okay, while the studio comes back, Chris, taking from your point, I just wanted to add, apart from being prepared as a business, what we've also seen is the market is now prepared. The market is open to having virtual conversations about insurance, which in Zambia was never a thing. You wouldn't see clients. I'm not sure about the general insurance side, but even in the life insurance business, you would not see clients go onto your website, look for a quote, and purchase their insurance. They would want to have a face-to-face conversation, and that has changed. I think the market has. The market has.
Totally agree. Even in the general insurance space, we have.
Sorry, I missed that point you just made.
Okay, we were just waiting for you to come back. We were saying
I missed the point you made. Yes, go ahead, please.
Sorry. So I think I wrapped up by the time your sound went. Unless it's a new question.
Okay, I missed it though, and I was quite interested to hear what your opinion is about your clients and whether they're able to, whether they have the knowledge on managing these risks.
Okay, I think for our clients, we are trying as much as possible to, you see, insurance provides this benefit. Apart from just the provision of cover, we provide a risk management where, in fact, we are trying to prevent it. It's the same thing they use in the medical field when they say prevention is better than cure. We are trying to prevent misfortune from happening altogether. That's how insurers, that's the model we work around. That's why you have your seat belt in your car, you've got fire extinguishers, and we insist if we come to your premises, we want fire extinguishers, we want to see burglar bars on your shops, all those things. Or why? Because we are putting certain things to make sure this does not occur. They do not, this time they shouldn't be caught unawares. This is something that's been with us for over a year, and we are trying to help them, in short, to business continuity, for them to continue in business, and this COVID not to set them paralyze their operations altogether.
Yes. So do you have the confidence that, you know, they have this now, that they're prepared for the next wave, your clients?
We continue to do consumer education because we cannot, I don't think we'll reach a point where we say, I think now they're all ready. We continue, and for Minwood, we are very passionate about consumer education because we realize that in this part of the world, the one reason why Zambia ranks lowest among for insurance uptake is because there's a huge knowledge gap. So we as Minwood have given ourselves one role is that we will continuously, whether COVID, no COVID, consumer education, because this is the only way we'll grow Zambia, change the culture towards insurance and increase the uptake of insurance. So we only, when our clients are hit by the third wave, God forbid, they will be more or less prepared because we won't stop, we won't drop the mic. We'll continuously be talking about how to prepare and what to have in place as an insurer in public.
Prablin, maybe you can come in here and comment about your clients and their preparedness for another wave of the COVID pandemic.
Yeah, similar to what Chris was saying, I think consumer education on health and well-being, on emotional health, mental wellness, and also protecting ourselves against COVID is a lot more out there now. It's visible, people know about it. You'll hear a 2-year-old telling you, wear a mask or you'll get COVID. So people are much, much more aware now than we were a year ago. As Prudential, playing in the medical and life insurance space, we then have a direct relationship with our customers when it comes to their health. We believe, or our business model works on what we call the 3 Ps: prevent illness, predict if there is an illness likely to happen, especially chronic illnesses, and postpone these illnesses. And we play very heavily in that space. When we onboard customers, we take them through education, we take them through awareness of how do you protect yourself? If you're a corporate, if you're a mine, for example, how many miners are being exposed to each other? What social distancing guidelines are you following? How many of you have been vaccinated? And now, unlike last year, we're in a situation where we can walk into a health facility and get vaccinated, but are we? And that's the space that we want to play in to help build the confidence in our clients that COVID or no COVID, as long as we're careful, resilient, and innovative, then nothing stops us from continuing to grow our businesses.
Okay. So now in terms of, I know earlier on Christopher talked about the flexibility when it comes to repayments of your customers making their repayments. What other mechanisms did you put in place to help them curb their losses?
Sorry, that's me?
Yes, Christopher, I made a reference to you telling us about the flexibility when it came to repayments. So I'm asking, yes, what other measures did you put in place to help your customers during this trying time?
Okay, apart from flexibility with payments, we also had to invest a bit more in digitalization. So we ended up opening, using social media extensively. We now have an account on Instagram, which we didn't previously would have had no business with, but we are on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So we are trying to reach them our customers where they are found. And that also enabled them to submit a court request, get covers, the insurance done, and for the system we had in place allows us to deliver this. Luckily, with RATS are also coming on board, allowing people to print the discs from the road tax in their own homes. There was literally little or no need for physical interaction. So we had to invest slightly. I'll be one to let you know that we bought a new system altogether, discarded the system we were using previously, because this one we have now was compliant with the RATS thing, and also allows clients to basically have their own terminal, and they could put in requests, interact with the insurance company. Then we removed the need for physical interaction, in short, and made it flexible, flexibility in payments, flexibility in accessing our products. So that's basically what we did to lift the burden and make our products still available despite the COVID situation.
Pavlin, come in and tell us what Prudential Life Assurance did for their clients.
In our case, Prudential had very flexible products pre-COVID. So our product, one of our products specifically, is a never lapse policy. So even if our clients are unable to pay premium in a given month for a particular reason, that policy would continue. And unlike a bank or a lending institution, payment is not repayment. Payment is sustaining your policy. So we had that flexibility in one of our policies pre-COVID. We did provide the flexibility to our customers in the event that you're unable to pay premium, your policy will be kept in a dormant state, allowing you to come back when you can and pay the premiums that are due. But from a product perspective, I think the most critical item was the fact that we included and allowed for COVID to be one of those illnesses that we covered, where generally across the globe, insurers were classifying COVID as a pandemic, which is an exclusion. But we provided it as additional cover to our clients. So that's something we're very, very proud of.
Thanks for that. And just a follow-up question to that. When you talk about your clients, could you tell us about the profile of your clients? Because my next question is going to look at the informal sector and really how they can survive during pandemics like this. Who will take care of them? So just give me tell me who your clients are.
Yeah. It's interesting. So we look at the market in three segments, as most financial institutions do: the mass market, or the micro market as you referred to it, the mass affluent, or the middle segment, and the affluent segment. Prudential went very deliberately into the affluent segment a couple of years ago, setting up a branch in Kabulonga, which many of you may have seen, specific set of consultants with a specific type of training and products that we offer to the market. Now, obviously, these are hard currency products, high-end solutions for the upper end of the market. In terms of the middle market, it is people currently, I'd say, between the ages of 25 and above. 25 to 45 is when these people come in. They want to plan for retirement. They want to plan for their children's education. They want to protect themselves and their families in case of illness or unfortunate death, so funeral policies and so on. What I think insurance companies do realize, and banks do realize now, is the importance of bringing people in younger, which is why the theme and the target market of this expo, being women and youth, is critical, because those are two segments that are not tapped enough in our market: the women in terms of financial inclusion and insurance penetration, and the youth. And then, of course, as you said, there is the mass market. And to be able to penetrate and cover the mass market for any financial product, especially insurance, takes very strong infrastructure, very robust regulation, and the support of distribution partnerships. So definitely an area of focus. Watch this space with Prudential and what we'll be doing in the microinsurance space. But I think as an industry, we still have a lot of work to do in terms of microinsurance.
Okay, and Meanwood General Insurance, your comment on this mass market?
Mass market, we actually very similar to what she has mentioned. We tend to focus on wherever there's economic activity, there's particularly entrepreneurship. In fact, the very word I think refers to risk taking. So wherever there's any economic activity, there's usually risk at the center of that activity. You cannot totally eliminate risk. So we have products for the youth, middle-aged, and very elderly, and people in the, like we said, our products also speak to personal lines, meaning as individuals, then also as businesses, but we tend to focus more on whether the informal and formal, that for us is neither here nor there, provided they have they are engaged in some economic activity which is generating an income, or they have assets which they must, because remember, for insurance, for us, we're looking at, do they have assets that they need to protect? This is where all your fire, your burglary, your different insurances will come from. Do they have maybe people under them, like employees, who they need to protect? That's where you have your group accident and all these type of policies come out. Then do they have, if they're in business, they can incur liabilities. The product you're putting out there, do you have product liability? For your business premises, if somebody comes and slips and fall, they lose a tooth, they'll sue you. Do they have that kind of policy? If they are professionals, like for example, you are a professional and you give me, you are into consultancy. When a professional gives an opinion or advice, certain businesses or individuals can, on the strength of that advice and that professional standing, can lose income because they'll take actions that are purely based on what they were the guidance they received from this professional, and they can sue you. So do you have professional indemnity? Then we come to things like protecting your income. If you lose income from business interruption, something happens that makes you lose the income. How do we protect that? We have business interruption policy which protects your because you might have a fire, your premises becomes inaccessible, you can't use them, but you still have standard costs. Your employees still need to get paid, and other obligations you've got, statutory and other things, remain standard. So instead of that coming from your savings somewhere, insurance comes in and helps you weather that storm. So we're looking at all classes of people: the mass market, the high end, and the very, very informal, as you might say. So pretty much, like he said, our products try as much as possible to speak to all these various classes.
Okay, Felix, maybe you can come in and just give me your thoughts about how these people in the informal sector, in the event that perhaps they have to stay at home because of COVID, the third wave, there are lockdowns imposed on them again. How can these people be helped? Is Felix still with us?
Oh, I think it dropped out.
Okay, we seem to have lost Felix from Viraj Medical. So I'll carry on the conversation with Christopher from Meanwood General Insurance and Pravlin from Prudential Life Assurance. And we're still talking about how these people from the informal sector can be helped in the event that, suppose there's a stay-at-home order and the lockdowns imposed once again during a third wave.
I think Felix is back.
Felix.
Sorry, I lost connection temporarily there, sorry.
Not a problem. I was just talking about, I wanted to find out your thoughts about how people from the informal sector can be helped in the event there's a lockdown or they're given a stay-at-home order. How will they survive?
How will they survive? From a healthcare perspective, through basically digitization and through the buying and selling of consumable goods, and of course we're talking about being an entrepreneur. in this respect. There's so many things people could sell, buy on the market, and with so many SMEs coming up, delivery services, and so many other platforms, such as even real estate these days is done online. Medical health products can be bought online. And so it can be very useful too, whereby someone just basically uses their phone and is able to download certain applications and procure certain goods and sell and be able to deliver through these different platforms. I'm not sure if I'm able to mention certain companies that are doing that, but there are quite a number of young people out there who've set up these delivery companies, these online platforms where you can buy goods and services and sell both goods and services while seated at home. So basically those people, for youths and basically Zambian citizens who are unemployed, that's another avenue to look at, is going digital and using a lot of these online platforms to...
Have they been sensitized about these facilities?
There is some sensitization because there are adverts on social media pages, and Google, of course, when you open up your web browser, many pop-up ads are there. We as Viraj Medicals also have some of those adverts for our website, and some of the products that we sell, you will find them on the internet. Given your search history, as long as you've searched for medical equipment here in Zambia, you will see some of our adverts. And basically, in terms of the development and deployment of equipment, what we want to do is really make an impact on women's health by deploying mammography equipment, which is being to some extent neglected here in Zambia, whereby women need to be able to have easy access to breast screening for breast cancer. And that is really a big part of our discussion at our booth and stand here at the Lusaka Business EXPO in terms of what we want to do for the women here in Zambia.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go back to Meanwood General Insurance. Just looking at just the topic, managing business risks in the face of the crisis. And just summarizing your points, what are the key things you want to say in summary before we log off?
Okay, just summarize them up. The gist of our discussion here for Meanwood General Insurance, what we're just saying is, number one, the world has changed in a radical way. We're not going back to the pre-COVID era, and the new normal has asked us as service providers to review our entire value chain, how we deliver, what we are delivering, and then also how we interact with our customers. We've had to look at digitalization as one of the things that we've had to focus more, give more attention to, and also try to give some relief in terms of modalities of payment for for various products, because we know our clients' pockets were hard hit just as the entire day, as the economy suffered, households were affected. So in short, we are saying as Meanwood, we are your partner in this phase, in this ordeal that many of our clients are going through, and we'll keep innovating, thinking through how best we can deliver value to them and what risks that, because there are certain risks that will be introduced because of this down the line, which we may not think of today, but we are ready. When it pops up, we'll be in a position to come up with a solution. Thank you.
Okay, problem, Collie, yes, Prudential Life Assurance. Just in summary, in terms of, enhancing preparedness for this global pandemic, what are your thoughts in summary?
I'll take from what Chris and you were saying earlier. We have a beautiful country. We have immense resource, be it the mines, timber, tourism. We need to tap into our resource. We have an amazing population, a very young population, a population who may not have smartphones at the moment, but do have phones and are reachable. It is now up to large corporates like Meanwood, Viraj, all the other sponsors and exhibitors at the Expo and Prudential to come together and optimize value chains. It's all about collaboration now. It's no longer my profitability or yours. It is about how do we collaborate to come to the market with the solutions that the market needs to prepare for the much dreaded third wave. We're talking about how to protect ourselves against risk, but I think it's also important to take calculated risks. And we can only do that when we enter into partnerships, when we brainstorm, when we come up with what are those risks we want to take and how will we manage them. Who would have thought last year that today we'd be here having a full day virtual expo like the one we've just had? So absolutely, absolutely thrilled and proud to be here representing one of the sponsors, Prudential, but also to be one of the goodwill ambassadors of the expo as we awaken the future today.
Okay, Felix from Viraj Medical, your thoughts?
Hello?
Hi, Felix.
Yes.
Your thoughts in summary?
In summary, as Viraj Medicals, we are basically here to provide sustainable solutions for our customers. We are providing solutions that are lasting in terms of diagnostics equipment and diagnostics equipment, basically. And in terms of what Mr. Chris said earlier, he talked about consumer education, and we are really keen on educating our consumers or educating our customers on how to go about business and what to expect from us and the best way to do things. I think that's about it from our end.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for that discussion. We were looking at managing business risks in the face of a crisis and enhancing preparedness for a global pandemic. We had a discussion with Meanwood General Insurance and Prudential Life Assurance and Viraj Medical. Thanks very much for that discussion. We'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll be looking at the financial inclusion from a regulatory point of view, and we'll be speaking to the Pensions and Insurance Authority. Stay with us.
Okay.
Who's this? Oh, these. And we now move to our next presentation, and this is coming from the Pensions Insurance Authority, Madam Namakau Ntini. She'll be talking about financial inclusion from a regulatory point of view. Good afternoon, Namakau, and kindly turn on your video, please. We'll give her a few minutes to do that. Okay, thanks very much. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Can you hear me now? Namakau, I think you are muted. Okay, we are standing by for Namakau Ntini from the Pensions and Insurance Authority. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Kwango. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Thank
and you
you.
can go ahead with your presentation.
Okay, I do have a very short presentation that the PIA is making really to at this expo. Basically, we are looking at promoting financial inclusion through pensions and insurance. And we realize that if we are to achieve the objects of what the Lusaka Expo is really trying to achieve, one of the key issues that we need to deal with is the aspect of inclusion, because results have shown that as a jurisdiction, we still have a number of people that are still financially excluded. And so that is what we want to share with you in terms of what the authority is actually doing around matters of inclusion. I'll go straight into my presentation. Fortunately, I can't seem to be moving my slides. I don't know whether I've been disabled or something. I can't seem to move them.
Okay,
Would you
we'll
like
give
me
you a
to-
few seconds now
Okay,
to
thank
put out
you.
the slides. Are you good?
I'm still, I don't know what's happening. I'm still failing to, I don't know whether it's the settings that I have. If you don't mind, I can probably stop sharing so that I can just speak to my presentation.
That
Would
is
that
fine.
be
That's
good?
perfectly fine.
Okay, I think I'm having a bit of a challenge in terms of moving the slides.
Okay, we are ready when you are. Okay, we'll give her a few seconds just to prepare it. Her slide seems to be giving her some technical problems, but well and good, she will proceed with her presentation minus the slides. So we'll give her a few minutes to sort that out. Meanwhile, this will be our last presentation for the day, but tomorrow we will be looking forward for you to join us at East Park Mall, where the exhibitions will be going on, and it would be great if you could come and join us by 08 hours tomorrow morning to see what various businesses will be showcasing at the East Park Mall tomorrow. You can come through and see what products they have and have discussions with them and get more knowledge about our local businesses and support them. So we seem to have her back, Miss Namakauntini, are we good to go? Unmute yourself, madam. We can't hear you.
Thank you very much, and my apology for that. Basically, my short presentation will be speaking to what we're doing around financial inclusion as a PIA. And I'll speak a little bit about who the PIA is, because somehow it's important to always give a perspective of who we are. And then I'll talk about the importance of pensions and insurance. And I think it's a very good consideration looking at the objects of the expo. I'll speak about the National Financial Inclusion Strategy, which is really a framework that the government of Zambia has put in place to actually drive inclusion. And then I'll talk about the specific around financial inclusion in insurance and the need, why we need a conducive regulatory environment. I'll also touch on the aspects of the gender considerations when you look at financial inclusion. And I think they are very, very critical looking at what the focus of the expo is. And I'll touch on matters of consumer education, as well as consumer protection, which is a very key ingredient in driving inclusion. So basically, the Pensions and Insurance Authority is an authority that is established under the Pension Scheme Regulation Act number 28 of 1996. And we do administer two pieces of legislation. The first one being the Pension Scheme Regulation Act itself. This is where we supervise the private occupational pension schemes. And then the other one is the Insurance Act, where we actually supervise the insurance sector. Previously, as an authority, we did operate as an office of the registrar under the ambit of the Ministry of Finance. So in terms of reporting, we still report into the Ministry of Finance. So what is really the importance of insurance and pensions? One of the things that we need to appreciate is that pensions does provide savings for retirement, and it also provides protection for beneficiaries, meaning that if somebody who is a pensioner actually ends up dying, the beneficiaries could actually then be able to live off the pension that the person has left. And we see that pensions is a very critical ingredient in terms of incentivizing a company's workforce. You find that when you have a company that has pensioners, a pension scheme for their members of staff, they tend to feel more comfortable, more protected, because they know that my employer has actually provided for my retirement. And that's why we encourage employers to actually come up with pension schemes. From the insurance front, I would say that insurance is important to protect your family, because when one is gone, it's important to always put in place mechanisms of how somebody's family is actually going to live once the provider is no more. Insurance also protects assets and investments. This is where I think the message that we keep bringing out, and even as we are interacting as PIA at the Lusaka Expo, the message we'll be giving even when people will be visiting the stands tomorrow is that it's important that they appreciate that whatever assets they have, they can actually reinvest them with insurance, and that is a good space for insurance, including investments. Kwangu, you may wish to note that during the COVID pandemic, most of the business and sectors were actually affected, and their performance wasn't very good. And so you find that if they didn't take out insurance, most of their savings were completely wiped out. And so this is where insurance actually comes through. Insurance also does definitely give, it promotes financial resilience, whether at a personal level, because when you suffer a calamity or a loss at a personal level, insurance will actually help you to pick yourself together and move on, as opposed to when you actually don't have insurance. And we always have this slogan that it's common to insurance, that insurance just basically gives you a peace of mind. And this is really a proposition that we always bring forward whenever persons say that, why do I need insurance? Because supposing I go through the whole period and I don't suffer a loss, I would have just donated money to this insurance company. And so we always bring out the fact that it gives you a peace of mind, because even when I'm on the road or when I'm running my business and it's adequately insured, I don't have to worry about what will happen to it, because I know that if anything happened, insurance will actually come in to give me that level of protection. So coming to financial inclusion, as a jurisdiction, we have adopted a framework of financial inclusion. And so when we talk about financial inclusion, what exactly are we talking about? We are really talking about the need for access and informed usage of a broad range of financial products, because we realize that there is a broad range of financial products, but consumers need to be informed about this broad range so that they can be able to tell what their needs are. And it cuts across the whole financial sector. So it will look at aspects of savings, credit, payment, insurance, and as well as our investment products. So what's the rationale behind financial inclusion? There is a very strong value proposition that financial inclusion does have several positive effects as far as issues of poverty alleviation, private sector development, as well as stability in the financial sector. Because when you have a resilient financial sector, it means then the economy is able to actually operate efficiently, because the players within the economy are able to actually then be financially stable, whether at personal level, because when you have a population that is not financially stable, even at household level rather, you find that this is where government has to come in to actually be able to offer some form of social protection. At business level as well, it does create the resilience that I alluded to earlier on. So what are some of the issues that the National Financial Inclusion Strategy is all about, is actually addressing? Maybe just a little background. The National Financial Inclusion Strategy is a strategy that was launched by the government of the Republic of Zambia. And it was really as a result of collaboration that happened around the financial sector regulators. And this is the Bank of Zambia, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the PIA, as well as other key players like the Rural Finance Expansion Program, the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. We also had ZICTA coming on board because of the issues of digital financial inclusion that we are looking at. And all this was under the leadership of the Ministry of Finance. And so basically that was why the financial inclusion strategy was developed. And the backdrop of developing the financial inclusion strategy came from the realization that the overall penetration still remains very low. So when we bring it home to insurance, you find that even in the latest FinScope survey that was done of 2020, it still presents that insurance is uptake is just about 5%. And this is quite low when you look at the world average of about 6.8%. So we see that there is still a lot of work that we actually need to do as far as financial inclusion is concerned. And it's very important because whatever issues we are trying to achieve in terms of advancing development of women, they have to be women that are actually financially included, because that is the only way they can be able to realize the benefits of whatever activities they're actually conducting. So the PIA is an enabler of policy as well as creating a regulatory environment that is conducive for financial inclusion to actually thrive. And we do that by looking at the service providers as well as the products that they're actually offering, so that there is actually value for money in terms of what the clients actually get out of it. So what are some of the gender considerations that we actually have as far as financial inclusion is concerned? Basically, it has been noted that women continue to be among the highly excluded population. And so we have about 42.6% of women. When you look at the FinScope of 2015, it actually shows that 46.2% of women are excluded, with 72 and 72.8% not accessing insurance and pension services. Now that's quite a high margin. And so the PIA, arising from this realization in 2020, through the support of the financial sector deepening Zambia, we did institute a gender study to just look at the characterization of the insurance sector as well as the pension sector as far as gender issues are concerned. And the key findings of this study revealed that women are significantly underrepresented as far as pensions and insurance is concerned, especially when you look at even the leadership roles. So you find that most of the positions that are taken up in most of these entities, in insurance entities, if you do a landscape, a lot of them are actually held, the leadership positions are held by men and not women. When you look at the products that are actually developed as well, they tend to gravitate towards men. When you look at the pension sector, seems to somehow be skewed maybe towards a more gender balance. And again, I think the pension sector is because you're basically just looking at the employment demographics. And then it was discovered as well that fewer insurance companies actually disaggregate their data in terms of gender. And so the impact that that has when they don't actually sort of disaggregate the data, it means that as they actually develop their products, they will not develop products that will speak to the needs of women. And so this study is one that is going to culminate in the PIA issuing guidelines to market so that we can actually guide them in terms of what they need to do. Perhaps one of the key issues that I may wish to speak, I should speak to, is that one of the key components of financial inclusion is consumer protection. And so within the mandate of the PIA, we are mandated to deal with issues of consumer protection. And so while we're working to actually expand our regulatory environment through the provisions that have been provided for in the bill that is currently under consideration at Parliament, we already have issued guidelines to industry in terms of what they need to do. And so under the consumer protection framework, we have issued guidelines that deal with how entities actually handle the complaints that they actually come to them. We have also issued out to them the procedure in which they should actually handle these complaints, meaning that they must exhaust them before they can actually come to the PIA. And the PIA, to show its dedication as far as issues to do with consumer protection and the external redress framework, we do have a dedicated unit called the Market Conduct Unit. It actually handles issues to do with complaints that have not been exhausted by the service providers themselves. And so, Kwango, perhaps in sort of closing, I may wish to speak to one of the other ingredients that are important to financial inclusion, and this is consumer education. The authority does participate in various engagements on the consumer education front. We participate in the annual Financial Literacy Week. We participate in the Insurance Week. We do a lot of various consumer education activities, both on radio and on television. We do radio shows, information sessions, such as this session that we're having today. And we also actively play a role on social media just to disseminate information, because we actually think that it's a very, very important ingredient as far as consumer protection, as far as helping the customers become aware of the products and services that are out there. So basically, this is the short presentation that I had on financial inclusion, and I hope that the persons that will be visiting the stands can pass through the stand for the Pensions and Insurance Authority and learn more about what the authority is doing and how the businesses can actually be helped. And especially women are encouraged to actually come out in numbers to actually get the information that they basically need. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Short but extremely informative. Thank you very much for that. That was Namakau Ntini. She's from the Pensions and Insurance Authority, and she was talking about financial inclusion from a regulatory point of view. So it's been a very packed day today, extremely informative and eye-opener. We talked about various issues on the show today, ranging from corporate compliance to enhancing financial inclusion. We discussed digital transactions and their impact on the financial sector, among many other discussions we had on today's program. So we engaged various speakers. If you've been with us the whole day, they gave us an expert analysis, expert insight into topical business and financial issues. We're calling on you to join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll be at the Lusaka Business Exhibition. It's going to be at East Park Mall, where you have various businesses there. They'll showcase their products and their services. So do join us tomorrow at 8 a.m. at East Park Mall and continue supporting us as we awaken the future today. Thanks for watching.